morning, Zedric. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Let me cut this intro. Let's cut the intro. There we go. There we go. The intro was cut. The intro was cut. Good morning, Charmaine. How you doing? Good morning. Make sure my sound is coming through here good. I think it is. Let's see. All right, we good there. I got a really good show today. Really good show. So Monday, as I was logging off of the stream, I see Kevin Stefanski is giving up play calls. And I press end stream. News broke he's giving up play calls. And I'm like, dang, I should go back on stream now. And I was like, you know what? We're going to get to it on Wednesday. We're going to get to it. This is something we saw coming. We saw Kevin Stefanski give up play calling last year. And we knew it was going to get to a point he was going to go up this year. Good morning, Latika. Zedric has been reading the rundown. Some weird speculation started by Jason yesterday. I agree. He said, there's going to be a 30 for 30 on this season with Shedeur and the Browns. He wouldn't say what it was. I think that's very weak of him. Very weak of Jason. And if you notice, I'm always saying things about how Jason carries himself and what he says and doesn't say and just leaving things in the air. Tony Grossi tried to tell us that now the 2026 draft is not it, but the 2027 draft is going to be it. And I'm like, what?
Stop it. Get some help.
We're not falling for it 2 years in a row. Good morning, Beast. What's going on? We fell for it. That's the wrong way to put it. We heard them say the 2026 draft was better than 2025 with no proof. I told y'all I launched an entire video series that I started doing live streams on Tuesdays, breaking down these quarterbacks. I'm watching every snap from all the quarterbacks that they said will be good. Come to find out, it's 2 quarterbacks that potentially are going to be good. And it's about 6 quarterback needy teams. And the Browns got this one additional first round pick, and they're going to be able to package all these picks and move up. And then the Jets said, we're taking whoever we want in this draft and the 2027 draft because we're actually willing to make trades to get our quarterback. So if it's one lock quarterback for this year, the Jets are saying we're gonna have enough ammunition to take him. So that's going to be an L for the Browns. Keith, good morning. Good morning, Keith. How you doing? So y'all see the rundown. We already talked about Kevin Stefanski giving up play call again. I think this is one step closer to Shedeur actually getting up there and playing and showing what he can do. Also, I started looking into another coach who is widely recognized as potentially the greatest coach of all time, but at least the greatest college coach of all time, and Nick Saban. So we're going to get some clips from Nick Saban. We're going to have some things he said intertwined into this episode. Even when I was listening to Nick Saban, so I might listen to 5 hours of a coach to get more familiar and get the core of what their message is. So yesterday, I'm like, man, let me just lay down for a minute. Let me relax. Let me listen to some Nick Saban speeches, some interviews. Man, I'm listening to this interview, and basically, I couldn't even lay down no more. I said, I got to get up and go. I got to start putting this show together. I can't wait. Nick Saban, he knows how to push the right buttons. I'll just say that, and y'all going to hear it later. Good morning, C. Brown. Y'all are going to hear it. Nick Saban got me fired up when I was putting this show together, and y'all are going to see why. Also, did anybody know that the Cleveland Browns had 2 of the greatest coaches of all times working for the Cleveland Browns? Had one of the best defenses in Cleveland in the mid-'90s. Did anybody know that? Yeah, they was there. They were there. So we're going to get a little bit to that. And what else we got here? We got Cleveland media not understanding the importance of a play caller, what they're able to do. What's going on, Asante? And instead of Cleveland media just saying, Cleveland radio just saying, hey, I don't understand what the difference will be if somebody else calls plays, they just dismiss it like it doesn't matter. Instead of just saying, hey, I don't know if it's going to make a difference. So we're going to get to that. We got an example of a play caller who has a good idea what the defense is going to do, and they set up the right play for a touchdown. We are going to get to what Zedric mentioned with Jason Lloyd. We're going to get to Tony Grossi. We got some really good things. I got some clips that we're going to put on the screen, and we're going to look at some defenses. That was one of the things that was requested. So since we don't have a game from Sunday to break down, I went back and I got the top defenses that the Jets run, and then we're going to show the Jets running some of those defenses, and then we're going to show the Browns going against some of those defensive calls and seeing if they're able to attack it or not. So we still going to get a film room in today. It's Wednesday. We're going to watch some film. We're going to get better. We're going to have a better understanding, coming out of this thing. So this is the thing that set off the week. So let's get to it. Let's get this show rocking and rolling. Let's go here. Let's listen to Kevin Stefanski, which I noticed that they edit out the beginning of this. They edit out the beginning because it starts, he's already talking. It's not him walking up, sitting down. So the Browns did some type of editing here, but let's go.
What do we feel like we can do well? What are the things that we need to lean into? What are the things that we haven't been very good at, and we need to move on from those areas? And there's plenty of football, like to your point about the playbook. There's plenty of plays. We just got to make sure that we're leaning into the stuff that's best fits our players.
This last year also, what did you gain from that experience that you can use this year, and what's kind of different this time around?
Yeah, I'm so focused on this season and where we are, Chris, and I'm just trying to do whatever I think is best for our football team in this case, and but I'm really focused on this year.
Early your decision?
Yes.
21 days.
Actually, let's hear this last little clip right here before we move on.
On Cedric Tillman today, just how close is he, and just what did you see from him?
Yeah, I thought Ced looks really good. I think he's worked very hard in his rehab, so he looks like he'll be good to go, barring anything coming up this week.
Is the update on Shedeur? He was not out there?
Yeah, still dealing with the back injury, but getting better.
All right, so we got the update. Cedric Tillman is going to be back. Shedeur still got the back injury, but he's getting better. So that's the update there. At this point, y'all probably get sick of me saying, oh, this is going to happen. Or no, y'all probably get sick of me saying, I told y'all so. So I'm not even going to do that. I told y'all so today. I'm just going to let y'all know that we are one step closer to Shedeur playing. And for people who were concerned about not wanting Kevin Stefanski to call plays when Shedeur gets an opportunity, we no longer have to worry about that. So that's just the next domino to fall. And that domino has fell. And I have a question. Latika, you're on to something. The way he cut her off, that was not his choice. That's exactly it. Kevin Stefanski, he has tell signs when it's not his choice. And if something is his choice, he will expand on the decision. When it's not his choice, he will be abrupt and just say, no, yes, and keep it moving. So you see it right there, Latika. What's happening is that Shedeur will be the starting QB next year while Brucey is auditioning for a new team next year. Shedeur knows something we don't. That's why there's no pushback from Shedeur. I think Shedeur going to start this year. I think Shedeur is going to start this year. I think Dylan Gabriel has a maximum of 2 games to go. 2 weeks to prepare for the Jets. We're going to see what he do with the Jets. We're going to see what he does. The real test is not, to me, when you got a team that's selling off their best defensive players, the Jets game doesn't matter that much. The Jets game to me is like Miami. It doesn't matter that much. I want to see what you do against a team that's trying to beat you, and we're going to see what happens when he faces the Baltimore Ravens. That's the test. If he doesn't make it out looking good against both of those teams after having all the reps and extended reps, then we know what it is, and that's how I foresee it. And I think after that, Shedeur will get to play. Zedric, he folds his arms too. That's a fact. You just got to watch body language. You got to watch body language, and you can see when Kevin Stefanski is not comfortable or it wasn't his choice. And usually he doesn't give this many tail signs. This year, you can see that things are starting to unfold and unravel in front of him. So he's giving more signs. But that's Kevin Stefanski. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Let's go. What we got up next?
One of your players at.
Let me pause this. So that's Kevin Stefanski. Basis of the show is him. But we're going to get into coaching. And I'm going to show y'all coaches how they speak, how they view situations. So we got this Nick Saban clip. This is Nick Saban on the pivot. Then I got a throwback Nick Saban clip. Then we're going to rewind. I'm going to show y'all when Nick Saban was actually coaching on the Browns, which some people don't even know he did. Even with the Jets' weakened defense, DG will play the same or worse in Sunday's game. I agree. I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think this game makes a difference. I think if you beat a team that's trying to lose, that doesn't mean anything to me. I want you to beat a team that's trying to win. We know the Baltimore Ravens are still trying to win the division, still trying to make the playoffs. They're not throwing away a year. So I think that's the team where I'm going to grade them more, or I'm going to weight the grade of that game more. And when that happens, then we'll see how he is. You know, that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's get to it.
Michigan State, he also coached in Bama under you, on your staff. Said told me you gave the coaches and the players the exact same treatment. You were intense across the board, and you were very consistent, but you were also transparent. As a coach who's been extremely successful, what would you consider one of the greatest attributes that a coach would need in order to potentially be as successful as you?
Well, I think I was blessed for whatever reasons to never have what I call relief syndrome.
Before he gets to this great answer, which I like it, I love this answer here. I think it's in reverse. Shedeur is seeming more and more like the odd man out. The games he plays will be a tryout for another team. I can see why you would think that, Zedric. I would disagree, and the reason why I would disagree is more based on the Browns cap situation versus how it could play out logically. So the Browns cap situation is not the best. So I can see them holding on to Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders longer because their cap numbers are so minimal. I could be wrong, but they're even wrapping up the Deshaun talk. Doesn't seem like he's wanted there. I don't believe the Deshaun Watson talk. I believe it when I see it. I just find it hard to believe that a person who tore their Achilles twice in less than a calendar year is going to be out there playing football again on the field. I just don't see it. The Browns are going to create excuse after excuse to keep Shedeur off the field, but I do want him to get on the field so he can show us he's much better than Dillon Gabriel. I agree. Eventually, the owner's going to say it's time to see Shedeur. Eventually. If they want to make it where Dillon Gabriel gets more games than Shedeur, that's cool. They can make it where he gets more games. But eventually, Shedeur's going to get out there. Then we're going to see what he is. And there's football reasons why we believe he's going to be better than Dillon Gabriel. And they're obvious. Dillon Gabriel only attacks one side of the field, and he doesn't throw the ball deep. So you need somebody that attacks every blade of grass on the field. Shedeur does that.
Which is human nature. You know, when you have a big win, you know, you're kind of relieved and you let your guard down a little bit and you think, I should have the opportunity to celebrate my success. And you let that carry over into the next challenge and it starts affecting habits and performance and all that stuff. I just never had that. You know, it was like, we won a game, we lost a game. 24 hours later, I was like trying to do the next thing. And I think that's a part of human nature that if you're going to be a successful coach, you can't be that way. And you can't let your team be that way. You know, just like Ohio State. I mean, they beat Texas. Probably those are the two best teams. That doesn't mean they're going to win this game. But how much are you relieved that you won that game? And how does that affect your preparation for the next game? Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
I never had that. And when we won, I was in the middle of everybody's ass.
Right.
And when we lost, I wasn't so much. I mean, I was correcting people and all that, but I knew the players already were humiliated by the fact that they didn't win, at least from a sports perspective. But yet, when you win sometimes, people have a much harder time dealing with success than they do failure. Most of the time when people fail, they want to change. They want to do whatever they have to do to make it right. But when you win and you have success, you feel like, I should be able to celebrate this. And our society actually promotes that. Like, you know, if you sell 20 cars at our car dealership this month, you get to go to the Bahamas for a week. I mean, what are we saying? If you have success, you get to celebrate it. Well, in sports, you can't do that until you win the championship at the end of the season, then you go celebrate. Because if you're not ready for the next challenge, you're going to have a problem. And it's like, we won 19 games in a row twice at Alabama. And both times we lost to a team that wasn't as good as us. And it was because we could not deal with success. It starts to affect your preparation, your habits in practice, and then those things start showing up in the game. And then you get exposed, and then you get beat. So I sometimes say, you need to lose. You know, like, I think the best thing that ever happened to Ohio State is getting beat by Michigan, because they got.
So y'all see it. I was watching this as I was just getting more information on Nick Saban, and I was like, man, I like this so much. You can have milestones and goals that you want to achieve, but don't put too much into hitting that milestone. Enjoy it in the moment, give it 24 hours, and then move on to the next milestone. Don't get wrapped up, don't get caught up in it. I just really like that. And he talks about that. And Lane Kiffin, I was watching some on Lane Kiffin speaking on Nick Saban, and he was like, they would win a national championship 7:30 in the morning. He would call all his coaches the next day and say, we're behind on recruiting. Let's get after it. And the coaches would be like, man, we just celebrated. We won. And he's like, we're already behind. So I really like that approach. I really like things to be defined, and I really like things to be organized and structured, because that's how you get the most out of people. So I was just watching this and I was like, man, this is too good. This is too good. Let's get to some of the chats before we get to the next clip. You heard Mary Kay. Now she's saying Dylan going to have to show he deserves to be the starter. I give it 2 more games and we'll see 12. Yeah, I think it's about 2 more games. I think that's about it. I predict the return of Nick, reunion of his old play caller, Shedeur and Deshaun. They recruit some Deshaun money. He'll take less on the re-sign. They're going to have to do something with Deshaun, something. I don't think Sunday will be a cakewalk in the passing game either. They still have some high-rated cornerbacks. Yeah, and Sauce Gardner was, I believe, injured. So I didn't even see him on the film when I was watching the film versus the Bengals. So he hasn't even been out there. The Browns know what they have in Shedeur. They ain't giving up someone as popular as Shedeur. Sante, I would agree with that. If Shedeur wants to play, he will play. If I was the Browns, I'd put him in at the end of the Jets game and name him a starter at home. It would fill the stands. Two-man, you got a good point there. That would bring more excitement and just a different level of energy in there. They bring him out. Beat a team that's taken isn't a big deal. Jets are in rebuild mode. Early Ravens game will expose Browns again. Maybe that exposure will limit the Sanders not ready hoopla. Q-Dog, I agree. That's exactly what I stated earlier. Though that's why I didn't feel anything when they beat the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are in turmoil. They fired their GM a couple weeks later. You got Tua getting up there saying he can't see the field. Stuff like that doesn't impress me. Dylan can throw 3 interceptions. He's still going to keep a starting job. I think if he throws 3 interceptions versus the Jets and then he has to face Baltimore Ravens, because remember, the Baltimore Ravens game is going to be very similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers games. In division opponents, they want to embarrass you. They don't want to just beat you. They want to embarrass you. The Baltimore Ravens, when I broke down that film, when Joe Flacco was the quarterback, they were confusing him. They were switching things up. Teams are not doing that to Dylan Gabriel. Teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers did, but the rest of the teams, they're showing cover 1, they're staying in cover 1. They're showing cover 3, they're staying in cover 3. They're showing cover 2, they're staying in cover 2. They're not even disguising the defenses against Dylan Gabriel. When you face a division opponent, they want to embarrass you, and they are going to disguise things. They're going to send more pressure at him. It's going to be a different level to it, different ball game. So it's going to be totally different. It's going to be totally different. Yeah, it's weird with how the Browns are trying to sell stuff to the fans. They act like they don't believe what the media says, but they are putting out reports. Y'all notice they put out all the reports. Oh, the Browns aren't going to be sellers at the trade deadline. They're going to be buyers. And if you notice, I didn't say anything about the Browns being buyers or sellers because that's the Browns' way of controlling the narrative on what people are speaking about. We're going to stick to what's important. What's important is this football, not the stuff they put out there to get people distracted by. We ain't falling for it. I got another Nick Saban clip. This is Nick Saban. This is him in 2009 at a coach's clinic. He's actually speaking to other coaches. This is Nick Saban right here, y'all.
All right, when you made the wrong move, you lost your guy. You got immediate positive or negative self-gratification for what you did. My kids play Nintendo. They get blown up and push the restart button, and I didn't even know what happened. And that's how, and they start all over, and there's no consequence for making the wrong move. They just start all over and see how far they can go in the game next time. And they have that mentality. Well, what we do is special. And you know, it's a human condition to be average. It's not to be as good as you can be. You know, it's the human condition to survive. Just get along, be average. It's why when a kid makes an A on the midterm, he misses 2 weeks of class, all right, or doesn't go or try, thinking if I get a C on the next test, I still have a B average. Lots of people think that way. That's normal. So when you get one that comes out for football and he thinks that way, don't think he's got something wrong with him. He's normal. What we do to get him to play hard, to play tough all the time, to give effort, is special. It's special to get somebody to be the best that they can be, to understand the work ethic and how important it is to earn it, and you reap what you sow. It's the perseverance that it takes to stick with it when things don't go right. You know, I read a book once, a priest gave it to me in 1986 called The Road Less Traveled. You ought to read it sometime. It's a spiritual development book, but it's about positive attitude. The first line in the book says, life is difficult. I'm saying this priest is crazy. Give me a positive attitude book, and the first line in the book says life is difficult. But really what the book was about, when your expectation is that things will be difficult and you're going to have to do certain things to succeed, that when things don't go that way, you're not as upset, you're not as frustrated about it, and you're able to persevere, which is always important to being successful. You know, Michael Jordan's commercial that was on about 10 years ago, Nike commercial, says, you know, he's riding in a limo all dressed up and all that, and he says, I've taken 26 game-winning shots and missed. I've played in 384 NBA games and lost. And I've taken 2,692 shots and missed. And then he opens the locker room door and says, but because I fail is why I succeed. And I think those kind of lessons are important.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I played that all the way to the end because I wanted y'all to hear, because I fail is why I succeed. So later on, we're going to hear people say, what if Shedeur plays this year and he doesn't do well? It's okay. He has an opportunity to get better and get up and play another down, take another snap, get another rep, practice in the offseason, and get better. Failure cannot be the thing that stops you from doing something you live your entire life to do. So we're going to hear that later. We are going to hear more about that later. I believe Mary Kay mentioned something about him going in at the end of the game, soft launch. Yeah, they're switching it up. There's a reason why the Browns are not allowing media access to see the practices. Yes, they want control. In other places, they allow you to watch the practice. They don't allow you to record it. The Browns want control. They want to control the narrative. If the Browns win like the Miami game, is that enough to keep Dylan in? Hard to keep winning in spite of your QB play. I think they have probably told Dylan he's going to at least get the next 2 games. But I don't see Dylan as the answer. So I think the best he could do is probably not turn the ball over against the Jets. The worst he could do is lose the game. And I think they'll give him one more game at home. After that, I don't think you can move forward. Me personally, if Dylan goes out there and Dylan completes 21 of 34 passes, he doesn't throw the ball down the field, he doesn't have any interceptions, and he has 1 touchdown, people will say he didn't turn the ball over the Browns won, and I will say that's a team that's not trying to win. It means nothing to me. I'll still look at the film. I'll look at the things he did well, but it just won't hold that much weight to me. This dude left college football when the playing field started being balanced. What else do you have to prove? When your name is always brought up in the greatest of all time, what else do you have to prove? What else did Michael Jordan have to prove? Could Michael Jordan play longer than when he stopped playing with the Wizards when he retired the second time? So, and also it still doesn't. You can't take away those championships. You can't take them away. So you can disagree with when he left, how he left, but you can't take away the championships, and you can't take away his importance on the game. So remember, coaches, this is to highlight the importance on the game. Let's get to it. This is a throwback.
But because it was
This is a throwback right here. Older Browns fans know this. Younger Browns fans might not know this, but Bill Belichick was the head coach of the Browns, and he had a lot of good up-and-coming head coaches who went on to have successful careers. He had them on his staff in the Browns. A lot of people didn't know this, so this is a little rewind throwback for us.
3 or 4 games.
I had to run that forward a little bit. I might get a copyright for that, so this part might have to get edited out the video, especially once they start showing them actually clips of football. So, Pedro's way, Belichick was the greatest football mind. There you go. He was in Cleveland before the Browns lost their team, and they let him go when they turned into the Baltimore Ravens.
Left.
I just wanted to show you all that the Browns actually had some really good coaches there, really, really good coaches there that they end up letting get out the building, and they missed out on great opportunity for success. So it's multi-layered why the Browns haven't had success. A lot of people just point to quarterback, but a lot of the Browns' issues also have been who they've hired as head coaches, especially since 1999. They've been hand in hand. Hand in hand. Let me clean this up a little bit on my end. All right, Tony Grossi. Good old Tony Grossi. Zedric, this is why I said I believe you read the rundown prior to. Belichick was Parcells' defensive coordinator. Correct. Patriots fans laugh when Cleveland talk about him. He will have a statue. If the team wouldn't have got ripped away, he would have had more success in Cleveland for sure. Bill was a coach, but he didn't get along with the Cleveland media. That's why he didn't get the props, and he did Bernie wrong. Yes. I had a question. Somebody asked me, what was the last quarterback that the Browns drafted that actually signed a second contract? That quarterback was Bernie Kosar. So Bernie Kosar signed his extension, and it was to go through, I believe, 1993. Belichick and Bernie got into it because Bernie wanted to call his own plays, and he would change plays at the line or change plays in the huddle and wouldn't run what they told him to run. He ended up just releasing him during the season, and he went to go play for the Dallas Cowboys. Would Bill become who he did without that failure of his time in Cleveland? See, I don't think it was a failure in Cleveland, because you got to remember, he only left Cleveland because they moved the team to Baltimore, and when they moved to Baltimore, they wanted to start fresh with the new coaching staff and all that stuff. So I don't consider that a failure. Failure is when you go work and you work there. Let's see. Failure for that type of coach is when you work there for a couple of years and you get fired. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get fired. The team moved. Team moved, and they said, we don't want to move forward with any other people that we previously had. So I wouldn't necessarily call that a failure. Belichick couldn't stand Bernie. Yeah, that's a fact. It's because Bernie would not just go out there and do what they were telling him to do. If he heard the play, nah, this ain't going to work. We're going to run this. I don't care. Your route was supposed to be this. This is what I want you to do. That sound familiar? Does that sound like the quarterback situation now in Cleveland, where the quarterback is running out there, running play calls, and they're not working? And it's a quarterback who's known to change things at the line of scrimmage or in the huddle to make sure they work? Hey, these just the questions. When you have a coach that wants all the control, they can limit a player. This is what's happening. Why does he like Dylan Gabriel so much? Because he just runs the bad play and doesn't question it. What did Coach Prime say? Your quarterback needs to make 3 plays a game, not based on the plays that we call. It's a different philosophy. Different philosophy. So this is Tony Grossi. Let's see what Tony Grossi has to say.
No Steelers of the day, however you want to say it, the New York Jets. Accumulated first-round picks all over the place, traded away Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams. A lot of people are going to now ask, should the Browns have done what the Jets did today? And that's trade away veteran players, defensive players, for more draft.
Two of their best defensive players.
For more.
I'm going to give him a buzzer. That's a loser's mentality. That's a loser's mindset. You trade off players who are number 1, number 2, top 5 at their position, only for draft picks for the potential to try to find players who are number 1, number 2, number 5 at their position. Yeah, the Jets, let them keep being losers. If you eventually want to be a winner, you got to start doing things winners do. Winners don't go into situations with the intent to lose. It's a bad mentality. It's a bad mindset to have. And everybody who's going to be pushing that, they have a loser mindset. They have a loser mindset. Bernie wanted to win. He also didn't accept he couldn't do the same things he did 3 or 4 seasons before. It's a fact. Shedeur will be practicing today. Maybe they'll stop creating rumors this week. Hopefully they do. We will see. We will see if they, we'll see if they keep the rumors up or if they let the rumors go. We're going to see. We are going to see. So for me with the rumors, I try not to get too deep into it. I tell y'all how I feel about it, and then I keep it moving forward. What else you got to say, Mr. Grossi?
Draft capital. The Jets now have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 drafts. What do you think?
So they traded Sauce Gardner to the Colts and defensive tackle Quinnen Williams to Dallas. And they end up with 2 number 1s in 2026, plus Dallas's 2nd round pick in 2026, and 3 number 1s in 2027. Okay. So here's the theory on that. There are experts who project each draft years in advance, and supposedly the 2027 draft will be better than the 2026 draft.
Have you ever had a... Wait a minute. Who are you?
So during the 2024 draft, the 2025 draft, we heard the 2026 draft was better. Now that we're at the 2026 draft, or leading up into it, now they're saying the 2027 draft is going to be better. That's not going to work. I remember somebody said something very profound about you fooling them. So let's give it up for the former president of the United States.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
I don't think that's exactly how it goes, Mr. Bush, but I get the sentiment of what you're saying. Fool me once by telling me the next year's draft class is going to be better. You won't fool me again by telling me the next year's draft class is going to be better. We're going to start holding your feet to the fire. Stop pushing it out, because y'all use the reason why the Browns are just going to draft a quarterback in 2026 is because it's so much better, and y'all use that as a way to not give Shedeur a full or a true opportunity. So now we're not letting you move off of that. We're holding your feet to the fire. Watch him talk about his relationship with Belichick. Glad he got to do victory formation and get his ring with the Cowboys. Too bad it never came with the Browns. That's a fact. It would have been great to see Bernie win here. It's not like there's confidence the front office to do well with those picks anyway. That's a fact. That's another thing. When you have a history of not being able to draft good players, why we have confidence in you? Yeah, it's not going to work, though, saying that next draft. It ain't going to work.
2026 draft was supposed to be good for quarterbacks. We'll see if that pans out. But as far as total depth, 2027, the Jeremiah Smith draft.
Yep.
Caleb Downs is
Caleb's in this
he's
one.
in 2026, but
Yep.
Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sayin, and who knows what other quarterbacks. So the Jets have basically secured probably the number one pick in the 2026 draft because they've depleted themselves of their top 2 defensive players. They're 1-7 going in. And, Fernando Mendoza is establishing himself as the number 1 quarterback in the draft. So not only through these actions can they secure their franchise quarterback, but look at the 2027 draft as far as receivers. Ryan Williams of Alabama is another guy who's going to be in that draft. So I think what the Jets did was smart. They were going nowhere this year with Justin Fields, and they didn't even touch their offensive team. They still have Garrett Wilson. They still have, of course, Justin Fields will be the quarterback Sunday to get them to the finish line this year, and perhaps even to be the backup to Fernando Mendoza next year.
Well, Tony, then the question is, and you've talked about it, the Browns you called it sophisticated tanking.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should have just done full tanking, trade Myles Garrett? What could if Sauce Gardner got 2 firsts, what could Denzel Ward have got? Should the Browns have gone fully in one direction or another? Because right now it kind of seems like they're in a middle
between.
ground. Yes.
They're in between. And the Joe Flacco trade to me signified they didn't care about this year's 1-loss record. So they're like in between. They started it, but for 5th-round picks, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you do this for 1st-round picks, and to do that, you have to trade your best players. I don't know if I would have gone, full Myles Garrett at this point and full Denzel Ward. I think they missed the boat back in March on Garrett. I probably wouldn't have traded.
That's just loser talk to me. That's loser mentality. Just waking up every day going in with the plan to lose is loser talk. We'll see if it works out for the Jets. If anybody could remind me of the last team that has tanked or failed their way into success or failed their way into a Super Bowl, let me know. Just off the top of my head, I don't recall the best teams failing their way into something. I look at teams who consistently build off what they have to continually get better every single year. Who's to say this will work out for the Jets anyway? It's the Jets. That's a fact. Browns are screwed on salary cap as long as Watson is on contract. Only to a degree, man. Only to a degree. The Browns have an opportunity to have right around $98 million in salary cap space with a couple moves. So they're not screwed to the level like handcuffed, not being able to do anything. Definitely not enough money to fill all the holes that the Browns have, but not overly handicapped where they can't get it done. So this is loser approach. A lot of people are going to talk about this. To me, this is not even a conversation that I would entertain because it's the spirit of a loser. And, I don't wake up and put in work and try to get better and study and do things only to try to set myself up to lose. And hopefully I lose my way into something better. It don't even make sense. It doesn't compute with how my brain works. My dad always told me you find a way to win. So that's how I look at it. Okay. Lance Risland.
After that, but we're going to do whatever we can to beat the Jets. They probably knew this was coming. He probably did it last week. Tommy Reese has been involved. Kevin's always been a guy who has his guys involved in terms of how they're building a game plan. So it's never a huge jump from what he does. Tommy Reese, his scheme's very similar to Kevin's. But maybe sometimes you just need a new eye. And you and I have talked about the only way to really get a jolt or a change in dynamics in an offense is to replace play caller or quarterback. Whether that's warranted or not, that's the only 2 positions that.
Only team that lost and drafted one and went instant success was Colts when they released Manning and then drafted a generational talent QB. They did, but they had so many holes that they got the short end of the stick because instead of him keep trotting out there and getting hurt and getting crushed because they didn't have an offensive line, he retired. So, I mean, you can say it turned around fast. It looked good for a short amount of time, but in the long haul, it didn't even turn into anything. They didn't break up the team to do it. I would agree with that part. It just didn't lead to any sustained success. So when people speak on the Kevin Stefanski giving a play call thing, I think he's saying he chose it. I don't believe that he chose it. I think this is a situation where they got together. They said something. Yeah. Andrew Luck was getting crushed. He was getting crushed. Can't take all those hits. This is where they were saying, hey, we need a change. We need a spark in the offense. I think Kevin Stefanski sacrificed himself to keep Dylan Gabriel out there, because you just heard Lance Risen say it. When you need a spark on offense, you can change two things: the play caller, or you can change the quarterback. And if you believe that you want this quarterback to go out there and eventually find success, then Kevin Stefanski put himself out there to keep Dylan Gabriel out there longer. Which, to me, that's where the pride comes in. Instead of just acknowledging Dylan Gabriel is not what I thought he was and moving on and still being a play caller, you sacrifice yourself for it. Now you look crazy. So you're an offensive-minded coach. We brought you in here because the 18 months that you call plays in Minnesota, now 2 years in a row, you are giving up the play calling because, from your own words, you're doing what's best for the team. So if I have an offensive-minded coach, we brought him here to call plays and create an offense and stabilize that side of the team. That side of the team is not stabilized and is not better. What do we have to do? We got to get rid of that coach. So some people believe if Tommy Rees somehow has success, that is a plus for Kevin Stefanski. I disagree. I think it is a failure for Kevin Stefanski, because what that tells me is you had somebody who y'all didn't want to let go out the building. Y'all didn't want to let Tommy Rees out the building. He was the tight ends coach. To keep him in the building because he was in a running for some college positions, head coaching positions, you moved him to the OC. If you believe that much in him, that you bumped him up, gave him the title, only used him as a collaborator versus letting him run his offense and install it from the offseason, I think that is a failure on the part of Kevin Stefanski. I don't think it's a plus that you had to wait until you were stuck between a rock and a hard place to say we're going to try out Tommy Rees and see if he can get something else out of this. That is failure, everyone. And even Lance Risen is going to try to say, oh, I give him props for this. No. A coach is supposed to be a visionary. A coach is not supposed to be reactionary and give up play calling after he done blew up the season. It's not likely the Browns make the playoffs. It's looking like the Browns are going to be fighting to win more games so they can keep their jobs. So if the plan was to soft tank or whatever people want to say, you're not going to be able to do that because this team's is outdoing you. If the plan was to trade draft capital, the one extra first round pick that you got to get the quarterback that you want in this draft, well, the Jets did that better than you. So now you don't get props for making decisions in the middle of the year that you should have made in the offseason. I need somebody who came off of giving up play calling last year. You had a stud of an offensive coordinator, and you turned it over to him and be the CEO from the beginning. That's what I want to see. That's how they gave Kevin Stefanski props. I don't give him no props for doing this now because I believe this was less of his choice and more of them saying something has to change. So, no, you don't get props for that. It takes a level of success, breeding success, and team building to win. That core takes time to build. You change QB, no line, and no D. You don't get no win, and QB better run for his life, or like the Bengals did. That's a fact. We are watching the Cincinnati Bengals build up the offense at the expense of the defense and letting key defensive players leave year after year. And what everybody goes to is, but that team went to a Super Bowl early. Okay. They went to a Super Bowl early. When do people foresee the Cincinnati Bengals getting back to a Super Bowl? Nobody sees it. Defense is too bad. It's too bad. I think the earned stipulation for Dylan is coming into play. It could be one more game if he plays bad. Kevin has less control, it seems. There you go. So, Zedric, if he has less control, why would people try to give him props? If people had to force your hand and show you how bad it was, why should we give you props for that? You don't get props for that. Joe Burrow didn't stand a chance. He overcame the flaws, but long-term it hurt him, and he didn't get it done in the end. There you go. what was the game-saving play in the Super Bowl versus the Rams? Do y'all remember what that play was for the Cincinnati Bengals? Do y'all remember who made the play? It was Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald made the play. Aaron Donald made the play to win the Super Bowl when the Cincinnati Bengals were driving upfield. He made the play. Their offensive line could not contain Aaron Donald. Joe Burrow had a guy wide open who could have got the first down. The offensive line is the thing that Joe Burrow worked around. In the end, it was the same thing that cost them the game. And now is no potential for them to get back. So there you have it. You got to build up success and stack on success. So I don't give them props for that. People are going to try to give them props. I totally disagree with that approach. Let's keep it moving. Now, this is somebody else recognizing that maybe the Jets are going to be able to do whatever they want to do and move past what we were able to do as Cleveland Browns when it comes to moving up in the draft as only one or two good QBs.
First-round picks. They desperately need a quarterback in a draft that the Browns look like they desperately need a quarterback as well.
And we don't know how many quarterbacks are worthy of said desperation in the upcoming draft as well. So that is a little bit challenging.
It's two quarterbacks worth their salt. I've been watching these quarterbacks every week. It's two quarterbacks. If you don't get Ty Simpson, which I would like to see him have more starts, but it is what it is. If you don't get Ty Simpson and have a very creative offensive play caller, because Alabama's offense is very creative. If you don't get Ty Simpson, pair him with the creative offensive play caller, or if you don't get Fernando Mendoza and pair him with a play caller who is willing to spread out the field. If you take Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson and just plug them in the Browns right now, they still wouldn't have success because Alabama's play caller is very creative. He does a lot of different things. Multiple times I've been breaking down their film, and I'm like, man, he is just 2 or 3 steps ahead of the defense with the way he's calling plays, getting super creative, the way he used his left tackle. He used him to run the ball. He runs screens for him. Just really good play caller in Alabama right now. And with Fernando Mendoza, they spread the guys out. They'll go 3 wide a lot. They scheme things open. He targets every part of the field. If you are not getting one of those two guys and putting them in those positions, it's not going to work. So it's only 2. I've been watching them. I've been watching them all year because I said I was not going to rely on people who watch them and get it wrong every year. If y'all notice, it was by week 4, I was over so many of these QBs, and I was like, the hype is not there. And I just took them off my board. You can go watch the videos or the live streams, whichever point you get to where I'm showing and talking on the quarterbacks. So it's not a bunch of them there. It's only 2 that I foresee. The Lenoris Sellers hype is not there. He needs to go back to school. He will be a long-term project because he hasn't seen enough football, and the system he's in doesn't seem to work for his strengths. The Carson Beck, not it. Garrett Nussmeier, not it. Kate Klubnik, not it. Sam Levitt needs to go back to school. So you just go down the list. Arch Manning needs to go back to school. You go down the list. All these guys, it ain't it.
And I mean, look, I think the Jets just blew by the Browns. When you talk about asset accumulation, positioning, it's one of the things that I have been extolling as far as what a nice job was done by Andrew Berry in that trade with Jacksonville, securing a second first-round pick so that they had the flexibility to where they didn't have to lose theirself or fail their way into the number 1 or number 2 pick. They could buy their way into it. And my thinking was, I really don't care about the 2027 first-rounder. I'll throw that in just for fun if that means that you're in a position to draft your franchise quarterback, assuming the player that is there is worthy of such a selection. But based on what the Jets have done today, poof, I think all that's been completely blown out of the water. And now it's the New York Jets, regardless of how they finish this season, they're the team in the driver's seat to jump in front of the Browns here to be able to get that quarterback.
Also, you got to look at the New Orleans Saints. If they don't fully believe in Tyler Shuck, the New Orleans Saints are a bad team who also could potentially take one of those top quarterbacks. The New Orleans Saints have less potential to win games, and they have another part of the problem with the Browns is when you are coaching for your life, you can't really just go and tank to get the best pick. The Saints just turned everything over. So if they have a rough year, they have a rough year. The Jets just turned everything over. If they have a rough year, they have a rough year. That's why when everybody said, oh, you just lose and you get your quarterback next year, that was a hope strategy. Hope does not work in business. Hope is for children. Hope is to give children a bright view and help them strive for more things. Hope is not for business. That can't be the way. All of these guys were talking about this hope strategy from the very beginning. I said, this will not work. It will not work. You can't go out here and try to lose your way into success. It won't work. So now, as it gets closer to it, now their strategies are showing that it's going to be a failure. Oh, we just going to throw in the 2027 first to get one of these quarterbacks in 2026 when you got no offensive linemen under contract who are healthy going into the year. You need wide receiver help. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It was a bad strategy from the beginning. It was a strategy that I would have never pursued, but people wanted to pursue it, and I always thought it was bad from the beginning. Let's get to some of these comments. Playmakers carry your team, but defense keep you in games. For all of your pieces to come together and do it consistently. Because of the cap, it takes health and good coaching to win close games. Fully agree with that too, man. Injuries to your playmaker and coaching are the difference between wins or loss. I agree with that too. We're going to get to it when people say the play caller doesn't make a difference, which I think is funny because I tie in the play caller right with having a good quarterback or an average quarterback and getting more out of them. So, but people in the Browns media don't think it's valuable or they don't think it holds as much weight as I do. Let's keep it moving along. I might be crazy. I would love to see Shedeur Sanders 1, Deshaun Watson 4 as the backup, Gildy Watson 4, a chance to show his worth. He will get picked up by another team. So I got this way out there theory that I haven't said yet that I think the next people who come. So I think everybody on the Browns is going to be out of there. I think I showed y'all my organizational chart of how I would do it. If it was me, I would get Brian Flores as the head coach. I always tell y'all that. I would not draft a quarterback this year. I wouldn't do it. I would keep the quarterback room as is. Dillon will be third string. Going into next year, Deshaun Watson will be backup. Shedeur will be my number one. And I would accumulate as many assets as I could in the draft. That's the way I would do it. And the only reason why they would stay on my team like a Dylan Gabriel is because he's low cost and he's a body. DG not showing nothing after this game. He not it. Yeah, I don't think he's it. I don't think DG is it either. That's why I said this week it doesn't matter to me. It's more so what happens with Baltimore when they come. Play calling was not given up by Stefanski. It was taken away by the owner. Ivy League Mac. We on the same page. I agree with that. Indiana play against weak teams. Beast, you are correct. Indiana has been playing against some weak teams. They have beat some teams who are okay, but the way I judge if you do well, like Indiana, when I'm looking at Fernando Mendoza, I'm more so looking at fundamentals of how he navigates the pocket, how he reads the field when they play weak teams. Once we get to the Big Ten championship and college football playoff, that's when we really will get an idea of how good these guys are. But I look at fundamentals when you're not playing against good teams. Play calling was not given up by Stefanski. It was taken away by the owner. Got you. Yeah, I agree with that. Ivy League Mac. Totally agree. Let's move this thing forward, y'all. This is when it comes to play calling.
I should say. But I was just feeling that if anything, they would just depart with Tommy Rees, and instead they give him the play calling duties. And what is that? What does that even mean? You know me, I'm not Mr. Play calling guy.
I don't only go rank teams beast. They play Big Ten games. They also had a very tough game. I believe it was against Iowa, if I'm remembering correctly. Big Ten games aren't always ranked, but they still are tough, just like in the SEC. If you look at the SEC, it's teams that aren't ranked, but it's still tough games. Florida is not ranked, but Florida is still a tough out whenever they play somebody. So ranked is cool. That's a way that some people look at it. I look at, if you play in a better conference, are you seeing good talent that you're going against? So that's why I said it's always something you could take away from it. But if you play in the Big Ten, you're going to play some tough teams. If you play in the SEC, you're going to play some tough teams. All those teams not going to be ranked. So you'll get more when they play the heightened level of competition when they get to college football playoff. But I don't only just look at ranked teams.
I don't think play call. I think it's one of the most overrated things that get talked about.
Well, play calling
from fans in general. And I saw, this was so funny yesterday. So the timing was perfect. Yesterday there was that video against the Dallas Cowboys. Was it on the road where it's a double reverse and it's Odell?
All right, we got to stop him here. This is where people speak on things, and if you don't understand it, you devalue it. So he's saying, I don't think play calling matters that much. You have some college teams that just can't match up with each other. I agree with that as well. I agree. Every game is not going to be an even slate. That's why if it's not an even match, if it's not, they got solid defense, probably not as good on offense, I look at fundamentals from the quarterback. So I'm always pulling something away from it, but it's not going to be even every game. Now back to them. He doesn't value play calling in the NFL, which is crazy, because he doesn't understand the importance of it. And everybody is saying, oh, what is going to be different if Tommy Rees calls the plays? It could be that instead of Tommy Rees being predictable, run on first down or short pass on first down, run on first down like Kevin Stefanski does, one or the other, play action on second down, or run again and go into third and long. You can say, what could Tommy Rees do different that Kevin Stefanski is not doing? Tommy Rees could use more window dressing. He could go with two backs. He could go with two backs in the backfield. He can run one out. He could use that to set up other plays. So it's a lot of things you could do with play calling. Good morning, Marie. It's a ton of things you could do with play calling. Play calling totally matters, and it's idiotic to say otherwise. Yes, that's why I say when people speak on things that they don't understand, instead of just saying I don't understand the value of it and try to learn more, they just devalue it. And I'm like, you got to be crazy. You got to be crazy to devalue play calling. At the very least, you will see tweaks and sequencing. I think you'll be able to tell if Kevin's hand is still in the cookie jar. I agree with that. Now, I want to show y'all something. So Josh McDaniels is not known to be a great head coach. We can all agree on that. But what we have to agree on is, as a play caller, he is a lot better as a play caller. So let's look at it. This is mic'd up. New England Patriots put this out. Remember, they just told us, hey, play calling don't really matter that much. Okay.
First and goal at the 7. Okay. There it is.
Okay. I started right at this point for a reason. First and goal at the 7. You heard him call it out. He's looking at his play sheet. He has an idea of what he wants to run. He has an idea of what the Browns like to do versus what they like to do versus offenses in this situation. He's looking at it, and he's going to identify the play. You're going to hear him. He knows this play is going to work before they even run the whole play.
Got it. Score.
On the rollout, he knew the play was going to work. On the rollout. That's how early he knew the play was going to work. It's another clip in here where he is saying, move back 37, backpedal, move back 37. As soon as he sees 37 move back, he knows the play is going to work. And you get these guys who say, play calling don't matter. And the example he's going to bring up is when the Browns were playing the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, and we ran like a double reverse pass from Odell to Jarvis or Jarvis to Odell, because he can only think of gimmick plays. That play call right there by Josh McDaniels, he doesn't think that was schemed up by the offensive play caller. It was. It was schemed up by the offensive play caller. The offensive play caller knew as soon as he saw the defense set, the play was going to work. This is what these guys don't understand. That's why they so confidently devalue things that have heavy value, especially in the sport of football. It's crazy. I remember year after year, Raiders having McFadden and the team built to run, calling pass after pass. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. I used to play Madden a lot when Derek McFadden was there. I don't know why they were not running the ball more. He was a cheat code. What you just said is what I think Andrew planned for. I would still try to get Nick. 13 Pro Cal, you was try to get Nick Saban? So when I saw this, that was the first thing I thought of. Like, man, these guys kind of just don't know. They don't understand what goes into the play sheet. They don't understand what happens or what they're trying to do, how they're trying to set the team up later. Kevin Stefanski isn't good at that. But just because Kevin Stefanski will have success on a play and never do anything off of that play, don't lump all play callers in like they don't do that, because that's not the case. Most play callers call things to build up to the next play. That's why some play callers seem like they're 3 and 4 steps ahead, because they have an idea of setting the defense up and what the defense is going to do. So these two, we just got to give them the buzzer. Or at least Lima, we got to give him the buzzer. He just don't know what he's talking about. All right, let's get to some NFL players speaking on this, how they view Kevin Stefanski giving up play calls.
Yeah, yes, he is. But we're gonna see what kind of plays he's calling. If Dylan, because now we can see too, if the same things, Dylan just dump offs, not throwing it down the field, not even giving our receivers type of downfield routes. Let's see if he changes it up a little bit. Because I know when Shedeur gets in there, I want to see him, I think hopefully he does the smart thing, trying to throw some balls downfield, just getting the ball out of his hand on time. Just things that he was doing in college.
How long till you see them having to put Shedeur in once they?
I see if we lose. If we come out of the bye, we can lose to the Jets. Why not? Where else we gonna go from there? You know what I'm saying? It's like and the defense plays well, and the defense plays well, and he just looks normal. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't do anything to help us.
He don't
out there.
He don't do no help, but he also don't do no.
You're not doing no help. So we
go.
lost to the Jets. We come off the bye off 2 weeks. You knowing you're gonna be. It is what it is. It's tight competition. You haven't really done too much to impress, too much to show that you can be that guy. If you don't come off the bye week and ball out versus the Jets and go out there and make something happen, then your time is up. Then it's time for us to at least go see what Shedeur can do. You know what I'm saying? But if he goes out there and wins, I think he got another 2 weeks. But if you come out and lose after the bye, what are we waiting for?
Hey, word is your new coordinator was the tight ends coach last year. He the OC now. So the OC from last year, they got him up out of there. Hey, be careful. He might be setting you up, get you up out of there now. Hey, we go sit down, wait and see Kevin Stefanski. Let's go on over here. We're going over here to another head coach, Zach.
Football players see through this. They see what it is. They see through it. Fire Stefanski. Hire Nick as a head coach and watch Shedeur work. Perfect choice for success for Shedeur. Yeah, you got to get somebody else in there. Green Bay is another team that behind the scenes scheme their plays and route versus defense exceptionally well. Yes. And if you don't understand when a good play caller is ahead of the defense, look at how many times a game guys are running wide open. Look at how many times a game the defense just doesn't have the answer. That's how you can easily grade on the surface level if a play caller is good at scheming things open. So Matt LaFleur, that's who is in Green Bay, really good at it. Sean McVay is really good at it. Josh McDaniels is good at it. Kevin O'Donnell is good at it. So it's some guys that's good at it that show, hey, this is what I could do. Kyle Shanahan. So it's some people here to do it, and they do it well. We will finally see a receiver feature Sunday. That will be a big tell too. I agree. Kevin Stefanski has never been able to get quarterbacks involved in the game. I got some sunlight coming through his window. Let me check out this light real quick. Kevin Stefanski has never been able to get receivers featured in our passing game, and it's been like that even when we had way better receivers. So we're going to see if Tommy Rees can do a little bit better job of that. This week, unlikely, I wouldn't hold my breath. Whatever happens this week, it is what it is. Shedeur could be his version of the other 12. That's a fact. It could be sitting right in front of you. Need a deep shot early too, not in the second half when the game is getting away from you. I agree. You got to take the deep shot early to get them to realize, hey, they might throw it over top. Because if you wait, when you try to throw it over top, you're just going to be punting the ball away. You're just going to be throwing it up. It's going to be an arm punt. So you can't do it that way. This is Jason Lloyd. Zedric, you mentioned this very early in the show, but this is Jason Lloyd.
Jason Lloyd joins us from The Athletic. So this is what I think bothers everybody. And, this is what I hate, I got to tell you, Jason, is, okay, I've called you the Culligan man, and I've made a lot of jokes about you carrying water for Kevin. But I also think that this goes both ways. I look at what Kevin does, and I go, okay, now what's Tommy Rees going to do? I don't think he's any sort of magician, and your ingredients are still your ingredients. So is he going to turn this wide receiver group into, Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin? No. So I got to tell you, I'm expecting more of the same, just with a different coat of paint.
And that's why I was a little bit surprised that Kevin made the decision. But who knows? Maybe we'll all be surprised. Maybe there is something to get out of this. I've run the numbers out before. They are among the slowest receiving group in the NFL. They don't create separation. They don't catch passes. They don't catch contested passes, and they drop first downs. They lead the league in drop first downs. I don't know how.
The separation stat that Jason always go to is one of the most misleading stats that he could bring up. It just agitates me every time I hear him bring up separation. All of the receivers that the Browns have ran a faster 40 time than Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua has been banged up, and he still gets more separation. You could either just run people away, or it could be scheme where you scheme guys open. So that's what it could be. That's the laziest take I heard him say. DG's PFF player scout report reveals all the tendencies we have seen: checkdowns, inaccurate passing, cannot throw on the run. I agree with you, Ivy League Mac. I'm not sure what a bot got you right there. There's no links in there. My bad. I don't know what the bot was thinking there. I don't know what that was about. I think DG is who he shows he is. If you look at his scouting report out of college, everyone wouldn't expect anything else from him. He doesn't make down the field shots, not his game. I totally agree with that. He doesn't do it. He never did it. Early on, I just said, hey, I didn't believe in him. I didn't think he was the guy, and it would show. He's going to show us who he is. So, yeah, my bot be tripping sometimes. My fault for that, Ivy League Mac. Jason is like nails on a chalkboard to me. He is. He never has a thought. Can you tell me what scheme is? I'm confused. Okay, needs to be a discernible difference, even if the production isn't fully there. Gotcha. Okay, Beast. Justin. Actually, let's do it real quick. Okay, so scheme is like when you hear scheme and you hear offensive scheme, think of the basis, the core of what they run. So Kevin Stefanski, his scheme is he likes to run 2 tight end sets in all different variations. So he could have 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage. He can have 2 tight ends to one side for power. He could have 5 wide, but it'll still be, out of those 5 people wide, it'll be 2 tight ends. So he likes to run a more, they call it heavy scheme with always 2 tight ends. So if you always look at Kevin Stefanski plays on offense, you're always seeing 2 tight ends. That's the core of the scheme he likes to run. That's probably the easiest way I could break it down fast. He likes to run tight ends. If you look at the scheme of, say, Sean McVay, he likes to marry the run and the pass, make it look exactly the same. He runs less multiple tight ends, more 3 wide receivers, and he uses his wide receivers to block as if they were tight ends, creating an additional wrinkle in the scheme. So that's the easiest way I can explain it quick on what scheme is, Beast. Jason threw that out like he could skate by it. That's wild to say and not elaborate on. I totally agree with that. Whoops. Good afternoon, Dawn. A lot of the Browns media has low football IQ. They always have odd takes. Losing has dry rotted their brains. See, I think you being nice when you say losing has dry rotted their brains. I think it's laziness. I think they don't have a desire to understand football at a higher level. That's what I think it is. Because we have more access to understand football than we ever had in my life. Way more access. So if you're going to talk every single day for 3 hours, Monday through Friday, and you never on your off time learn more about football, then I think that's on you. The same way Lima tried to say play calling doesn't matter, which is crazy. Play calling definitely matters. So that's on them. Like I said, losing, that's being fair to them. That's being nice to them. It's them being lazy, not getting better at their craft. That's what I take it as. Let's see if we can get to the point where Jason is saying that.
How changing play callers will change any of that. Plus, they've got a rookie third-round quarterback who has struggled badly. So I don't know how changing the play caller changes all that. But, listen, if the Browns come out here and Dillon throws for 300 yards and they hang 30 points on the Jets, we're going to have a pretty interesting conversation next week. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I expect that to happen.
He also doesn't believe changing the play caller will mean anything. So Josh ran a scheme like that when he had Gronk and Hernandez. Maurice, totally correct. And if you notice, one of them was the bigger guy. One of them was the more versatile guy. That's when you can really run the heavy package with two tight ends. One of them is going to be bigger, like a David Njoku. One of them is going to be smaller, more versatile, like a Harold Fannin. So that's the advantage in that set. But to me, they need to use Harold Fannin more as a fullback. I would use him way more as a fullback. I would have David Njoku lined up on the line. I would have Harold Fannin in the backfield. I would throw from that. I would run from that. I would do play action from that. I would use Harold Fannin more than just lining him up and telling him to go block an outside linebacker or go block a DN. I would use him way more than just that one way. Another thing about scheme is matchups and mismatches. Getting tall guy against corner, getting a safety going one direction, opening up routes on the other half of the field, putting fast against a linebacker. Exactly. Another really good way to kind of break down what scheme is and what scheme means. Another good way. Let's get to Jason Lloyd saying his crap before we move on.
But if it does, is that an indictment on Kevin? Yeah, you could certainly make that case. Like the Flacco thing, everyone's throwing their hands up screaming about Flacco. I'm like, well, what would his numbers be if he was throwing to Isaiah Bond and Cedric Tillman? What would his numbers be in Cincinnati? The fact that he sees Jamar Chase on the field and he could be triple teamed and he's just going to throw it up there and know that he's targeted him 42 times over 2 weeks. This
is such a lazy take. If you really watch the film, it's only a couple times where they just throwing it up to Jamar Chase it's just only a couple times they really just force feeding Jamar Chase. They're scheming Jamar Chase open. This is where these guys just talk. They don't watch the film and they just look at the numbers and say a bunch of targets. They don't realize that he's just not lining up on the outside. They're putting him in the slot. They're doing a lot of different things with Jamar Chase to get him touches. And they haven't seen this, so they don't even identify or understand what's happening directly in front of them because they never even watch it. Fannin will be better in space. I agree, but I think you want to scheme Harold Fannin up on a linebacker as much as possible. I don't want to, if you put Harold Fannin and you line him up in the slot, so many teams run base nickel, it's going to be a cornerback who also has speed on Harold Fannin. So I want to see Harold Fannin against linebackers. I want to see Harold Fannin go against safeties because every safety in the league is not a good cover safety. So that's where you can have the advantage. So you got to scheme him into getting lined up against a certain type of player. I don't want to see him against nickel corners. A nickel corner can stay with Harold Fannin. He loses the speed advantage. Fernandez was really like that more so than Grock. He was. Here's my hot take. Jets beats Browns. Jets have a lot of footage on DG tendencies. I predict 3 interceptions and a TD. Woo. Ivy League Mac. Hey, it'll be a long day for people Sunday at about 4 p.m. if that's what happens, and then you can't beat the Jets. It's going to be a long day if that happens.
It's like, is this really an intricate offense, or is this a veteran quarterback knowing where the best receiver in the NFL is, and I'm just going to throw it to him and let him go?
All right, Lloyd, let's get to what's left then. If the receivers are having those kind of issues, I do think the offensive line stepped up in terms of the at least protecting Dylan Gabriel last game. Is there something to build on there?
No.
Okay.
Not at the tackle spot. No. I mean, I said all year, the offensive line is kind of a crisis mode, is it not? Like the fact that you don't have any of these guys under contract for next year. I mean, if you think Whippler's ready, okay, there's your center. He's been here for however many years.
That's one.
He better be ready.
Stefanski with 2 tight ends is going to force linebacker in coverage, intentional crossing routes. Watching videos, you see this happen. Gabe throwing to the wrong target, missing the open guy on play. Eventually, they got to that. Starting off the year, Kevin Stefanski was running more stick routes. He wasn't running as many mesh routes or crossing routes. They've gotten to that now. Actually, when we get to the film breakdown, the first or second play is going to be exactly what you're talking about, Tool Man, and it's the way they were able to beat clear cover 1 coverage. So you are right. It just takes Kevin Stefanski too long to get to it. That is a good way to beat cover 1, which they've struggled with cover 1 a lot. So you are right about that. Jason said the Browns have made him dead inside when you need to think about a new job. I totally agree. Because then you're not taking the extra steps to get better and learn more. Whenever they talk, they only talk about stats without full understanding, and then they say what someone else told them. If y'all notice, I always try to speak from what I understand and from what I know. I don't try to use this person's thought process and try to make it mine and then speak from that angle. Jason Lloyd is notorious for doing that. Aditi is notorious for doing that. Mary Kay is notorious for doing that. You got a lot of people who are notorious for using somebody else's mind and thoughts and trying to use it as their own. And those people end up in situations where they speak out both sides of their mouth very often. Very often they do it. I want to get to the point where he's going to say something about Shedeur. That's the only reason why we're sitting through this. Oh, so true. So true too, man. Right. When they close one thing, something else open. That's where coach making adjustments is key. Totally agree with that. I totally agree with that too, man. Every defense has a way to beat it. Every single defense. But you got to know the right defense they're in, and you got to know their tendencies, and then work to beat that defense. Stats and what someone else told them, they're hacks. Agreed. I had a hot take before the year started where I said, if it keeps going this way, maybe in 5 to 7 years, the NFL reporter who is not the analyst, they might be obsolete. They might be obsolete. That should be illegal misinformation. It should be. Because they just get out there and spew stuff, and then they go on all these different channels or go on all these different places, and they say it, and they say it with confidence, and people hold them in high regard what they're saying, and what they're saying, it doesn't make football sense. Makes no football sense.
Yeah, that's one. Joel more than likely is going to retire, so you got to fill that. Zach Zinner can't even get dressed on Sunday. He was supposed by week 2 or 3 or whatever it was. Again, you think, okay, well, he's going against really good defensive tackles, maybe, and it just has like I look at like left tackle, quarterback, receiver. Those are, you need number 1 picks. You would like, ideally, I would think. They got lucky on the Teller trade. They traded, like Dorsey traded like 2/5, I think, to get Wyatt or something like that. No, I don't think so. I think it was, I know the numbers were tremendous because the series was tremendous. But I don't think that the sport, and I love baseball, by the way, like that's that. So I still think NBA is too, but that was a tremendous, tremendous series.
All righty. Jason, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Talk again.
Yeah. Bye. Jason Lloyd, The Athletic, on the Fan Hotline.
I heard the clip. I can't find it in there. Maybe I missed it. It might have been at the beginning where he says, it need to be a 30 for 30 on the stuff with Shedeur. Maybe I missed it, but I can't sit through another Jason Lloyd video. So just know he said it in some video and then he left it in the air. They wanted more. He wouldn't give more. And I think that's a very weak way to do things. All right. Let's go to the arena.
171 yards passing per game, which is bottom of the barrel. This is even worse. 4.9 yards per attempt, bottom of the barrel. 4 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, which he had none, and then last game he had a couple. His
6-minute mark.
You have to be a crack reporter to figure that out.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I just think that there's a lot there.
So when is he going to play?
I don't know.
Practice yesterday, so I imagine he's not probably going to be active Sunday.
I think there's going to be a 30 for 30 on this Shedeur season with the Browns.
What do you mean by that? What do you know? What do you know? What did you just walk into? You tell us what you know right now.
No, I mean, come on. There's obviously a lot going on behind the scenes. I think that's pretty evident. I don't think you have to be a crack reporter to figure that out.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I just think that there's a lot there.
So when is he going to play?
I don't know. I do think he'll play. He kept around this long.
That's not an answer. Come on. When do you think he's going to play?
I don't know.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This is sowing the seed of misinformation. This is how it starts. That is how it starts. That is very weak of Jason. If y'all notice, I've always called Jason out. He is always pulling these weak tendencies. I can't stand it. They don't bring anything of value or substance when they speak, and it's just a waste of time. It's all hearsay, like Ivy League says, and it's not permissible in court. It's not. It's all 5 targets on 5 to 7 defenders on any play. You can't close everything, every play. That's why you call a play, and QB watches Mike or the safety. Toolman is talking that football talk. It's so true. A lot of people wonder why they call out the mic, and they call it the mic for blocking assignments, and you watch the safety to get an idea of what defense they are running. I heard somebody say corners lie, safeties don't lie, and watch the safeties, they get better tails. Yep, now Rizzo and Grossi doing the same thing today. Man, it's sad. Sad. Speculation on speculation. Facts. Has Tommy Rees been named head coach temporarily? No, just a play caller. He's going to call plays. He's going to be the play caller on Sunday.
His QBR is second worst to only Cam Ward, 27 to 24. Pro Football Focus ranks him the worst quarterback by far in pro football. So I've seen enough, and yet Stefanski knows that over his dead body as the head coach will Shedeur get an opportunity. So he's saying, well, I'll switch up to Tommy Rees. And I've always liked Tommy Rees because he coordinated at Notre Dame, and then he coordinated for a year at Alabama. And I think he could be pretty good. But Stefanski is saying he's seeing the writing on the wall. It's not going to get any better with Dillon Gabriel. Stefanski knows Dillon Gabriel ain't it. So now if Stefanski keeps calling plays, it'll just look worse and worse for Stefanski. So he is shifting the blame. He's saying to Tommy Rees, well, you sit on the hot seat. You call him, and then I can say, well, don't look at me. It's his fault. Look, we're going nowhere slowly because of his play calling and not me. So he's just, it's a last gasp. I agree with you. His time is up, and he probably knows it, but it's the second year he's shifted blame by saying, no, I'll let somebody. It was Ken Dorsey last year, and then Ken Dorsey got fired at the end of the year, and Stefanski survived. So he's hoping this will be another shrewd move to save his job. And I'm with the key. I don't think you can save his job at this point.
No, and if you're going to make a move, if you're going to start fresh, start fresh. Like, if you're going to put a new coordinator in there, partner him with Shedeur. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to put a new play caller in, let his first play calling duties be 2 weeks sitting down with this other quarterback. Like, let it be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people have been saying, well, Stefanski's play calling, we've seen what Joe Flacco is with the Bengals and all that. Yeah, but he also throwing to some dynamic wide receivers too. And he still turned the ball over. So if you're going to put in a new play caller, you might as well just put in a new quarterback too.
I totally agree with that too, man. See, at this point, I'm agreeing with Gerald McCoy. He's going to get to somewhere else that I'm not going to agree with him on. But at that point, I agree with him. Let the new play caller get the time and build that rapport with Shedeur. They can move forward. There's a difference facing quarters and nickel picking up these changes is why QBs make the big bucks. That's a fact. They have to be on the same page as the OC and QB versus the defense. Totally agree. They got to be seeing the same thing at the same time. Latika, you saw it. The whole segment on Shedeur was off the chain. It was Aqib was not having it. He was not having it. He was calling it out. And it's funny that you said that because that's the part that I'm about to skip forward to, because eventually Gerald McCoy is going to say something. And then I'm going to have to take us back to Nick Saban and what he said. I think Reese has been working more with Shedeur than Dylan. Kevin been hands-on with Dylan, I bet. I agree with that. Let's get to it. Eventually, Aqib Talib is not going to be trying to hear what they're talking about.
What? You pick the dude you want to be your guy, don't bow out. Yeah, that's true.
Or at this point, let him just go out. Like,
I'm just saying,
everybody wants it.
If you're going to put Shedeur in, that's fine. But if you're going to keep Dylan, like the thing is, they're not handling it well, period. If you saying Stefanski is saying Dylan is my guy, we've said that. Don't bow out on him. Like, if you wanted him to be your guy, you ride the ship with him, and y'all keep calling the play. I'm going to leave Dylan in, but I'm going to let him call the plays. Don't leave him out there by himself. If you going to go out, take your man with you. Like, if y'all, this is who you wanted.
Yeah.
Don't put it on somebody else. No, you stick with your guy. Like, I don't like that. If you going to switch it up, switch it all the way
even close to being okay, then you leave him in there, though, bro. It's trash. It's beyond trash. You know what I'm saying? It's scary. You don't look comfortable at all, bro.
It's not the end of the world, I'm telling you. He's going to have a long career ahead of him. It's not that important for him to play week 9 in his first year when he hasn't had a lot of reps. You're going to say, that's bullshit. He can play. You guys don't know what it takes to call play in the huddle and recognize the defense and look at the front, handle the blitzes. They're going to blitz the shit out of Shedeur because they know he can't run very good. So they're going to.
This is what they're doing. This is a critical mistake. This is a critical mistake that Jay Gruden is making. This is a critical mistake that Gerald McCoy is going to make. They're saying, it's nothing to say if he sits out the whole year. All the examples of people that they're going to say sat out the whole year, they were sitting behind guys who are actually good. They were sitting behind a guy who you're better than, you've always been better than your whole life. That's not a good comparison. Also, do y'all know the narrative that will be out there if Shedeur never gets on the field this year? Part of Shedeur needing to get on the field this year is to eliminate the narratives that they will run the entire offseason about Shedeur not being able to get on the field. That's why he has to get on the field. He has to get on the field because if you notice, they are slowly changing the lies that they have said the whole time. So initially it started out, Shedeur didn't have arm talent. I'm taking y'all back to the draft. Shedeur's arm talent wasn't there. His physical attributes wasn't there. Then they said he couldn't win. He couldn't understand plays on the whiteboard. Then nobody liked him because of his attitude. He fell in the draft. Everybody said it was humbling. He's a backup. Skills not there. They drafted Dylan Gabriel before Shedeur because they think Dylan Gabriel's better than Shedeur. They don't know how Shedeur gets along in the locker room. Now, if Shedeur goes an entire year and never gets on the field, what will be the new narrative? You can't even let yourself get to that point. You want to go out there and you want to put the film out there and let the film tell the story. We saw what happened in Carolina. We saw what happened with the Rams. But the film tells those stories. Not people sitting who haven't watched Shedeur play. They don't tell the story. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to say, you know what? Don't even put Shedeur out there. Don't even put him out there. So then y'all can create more narratives and the Browns can go draft Garrett Nussmeier and then tell us Garrett Nussmeier is better than Shedeur when we watch all of his games and he's not better than Shedeur. We are not falling for it. And they get so defensive because you won't fall for it. That's where the defense comes from. The defense comes from, why won't you just believe what I'm telling you? Because I couldn't believe you the whole last year. So I can't start believing you now. And it's not going to work. That is what they don't want to acknowledge when they have these conversations. They don't want to acknowledge it. Maurice, you got a keyword. saying the same thing. He was not playing. Aqib Talib was not playing. That guy in the black has had some clown takes. I saw it too. I love how Khalif standing 10 toes down. He said, forget all that. Facts. I'm sure Dillon Gabriel can't name who the starters are on defense against him. Brady and A-Rod see a second string come in or a starter get hurt. He knows his man is going to be open before the play. That's a fact. Jay Gruden ain't watched his film either. Zedrick, that's a fact. They were sitting behind vets. DG is not a vet. He's trash. Sorry to say it, but it is what it is. Marie, that's just it. That's just what it is. They say, well, Patrick Mahomes didn't play right away. He sat behind Alex Smith, who was the number 1 overall pick. Jordan Love didn't play. He didn't play right away. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't play right away. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Find me the quarterback who sat behind somebody who every week showed they weren't good, and then that backup quarterback has success. It doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. All lies. Fact. Even Breer sounded different yesterday. The tune is changing because they thought that Dillon Gabriel was going to be better. They never watched Dillon Gabriel in college. Dillon Gabriel, the scouting report for Dillon Gabriel in college is the exact same thing. What PFF wrote explicitly about Dillon Gabriel is the exact same way you beat him right now. Nothing has changed. It's the exact same thing. You see it. Everybody sees it. So when they play this game does not work. It's one thing watching all-time great and sitting in that video room learning from what winning are doing. You in a bad team with a bad QB in front is wasted season. Facts. You sit and see bad play call, look at the field, and know the next play you're going to have an open receiver and have QB to throw cover 3 tight end isn't making you better. That's a fact. You sitting up there on the sideline watching where he should go with the ball or missing opportunities, and they say that's you learning. Come on, man. What are we doing? It don't make sense. Let's go. Let's get a little bit further into this.
Somebody else? Yeah. I don't like that. Like, I'm good with Shedeur not playing because it gives you a year under your belt. We've seen first rounders don't play their rookie year. Give him a year under his belt. Let him learn. Let him watch all the mistakes that dude.
How much can you really learn? He's still not going to know the speed of the real life NFL game sitting behind somebody who is 5 seconds slower than what the NFL game is. He not learning from that. Ivy League Mac. Say it again. This is a bunch of status quo thinking. Support the establishment at all costs. I agree. Nobody is thinking outside the box here. Everybody is only thinking if this is any other player. But if you use all the circumstances regarding Shedeur, you would never be saying the things they are saying. You would never say none of it. Shedeur has better movement than Gabriel. He also has elite vision and touch on his throws. For every Gruden, there is a Bledsoe. Facts. Triple coverage hospital balls. Facts. They even got mad when people were calling it hospital balls when he's getting guys knocked out the game. It's crazy. Let's get to Aqib on this.
Yeah, that other guy, man, and he's got the pedigree to be a starter in this league. Like that, man. I mean, he got the pedigree to be a starter in this league.
I can sit on the bench and watch this DB fuck up as many times. Oh, yeah, I know what he did. He should have been thinking post. Oh, cover 4, he should have been doing it. It don't matter. I'm going to get better when I get my ass out there and actually get game ready to get better.
There is truth to that. However, at the quarterback position, it's been well documented. There has been very good quarterbacks who had that first year learning under a veteran, right? Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre.
And it's been well.
Where is the veteran that he's learning from? They don't even have a good vet on the locker. I mean, on the out there that they're seeing. They got Deshaun Watson is the closest thing they have to a good vet, but they are not watching Deshaun Watson execute. They're watching Deshaun Watson break down film right with them. Who is the vet that they're watching go through it? Who is the vet that they're sitting there reviewing film with where the vet is saying, hey, safety did this. This is what I saw. This is why I went here. In real time, and you're watching them do it and process it and seeing how fast they do it. It doesn't exist. They got to stop with this. This is very weak. It's been
well documented.
Steve Young sat behind Joe.
You want him to go into this dumpster fire with where he's at right now?
I do.
Yes, we do. Gerald McCoy, yes, we do.
And what happens if? What happens?
Who cares?
This is all if he's not. I mean, we want to see him be successful.
We want to see him with a good defense and a good run game. But there it is. Right there.
And the bar's already on the floor.
That's what I'm saying.
The bar's on the floor. He can do a little better.
If he's not successful.
There you go. You heard her. The bar is on the floor. He can do a little better. There you go.
Well, then what?
This is loser talk. Gerald McCoy, you are a Super Bowl champion, and at the end of this, you just to try to stand on your point, you started making loser statements, loser talk.
Yeah. He will be successful. I mean, he just will.
We don't know that, though.
See that? He turned into Trey Wingo. Remember the other day I played Trey Wingo? Trey Wingo say, we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be good. We don't know if it's going to be bad. Gerald McCoy, it's called, if it doesn't work, you find a way to win. You get better. You're going to have slip-ups. It's not about how you handle everything being perfect. It's about what you do with your opportunity when everything isn't perfect. That's what it is. I haven't seen Dylan manipulate the pocket yet like Shedeur did in his first preseason game. That is a fact. Constant negativity from that guy. That's a fact. Gerald McCoy is a winner in football. In this take, and a lot of takes lately, he is starting to have a loser's mindset and a loser mentality. If you don't have success, you get up and you try again. That's what it is. That's what you do. He doesn't like the fact that Skip is telling him he's going to be successful. He don't like that. He wants Skip to change how he views Shedeur in this moment so he can be right. It's not going to work. Not going to work.
We can all stop talking about it.
You also knew the Cowboys were going to the Super Bowl. So let's just talk about it.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. It's playoffs. But
oh, well, it don't get no worse.
Look at how easy Skip got him. Y'all said he was going to the Super Bowl. Nobody said that. Jay Gruden, go sit on the sideline, my friend. People are not taking into account what Shedeur has done. It matters that he played a big part in helping build Jackson State, and Colorado could do the same if he were allowed. I agree. This entire conversation is ridiculous. The Browns are 2-6. They don't have anything to lose by putting in Sanders. DG is already the worst QB in the league per PFF stats. That's a fact. I went over him before. That dude is a hater. There you go. It's out there.
It don't get no worse than you 2-6 right now. Hey. What are we doing,
Coach? I'm just saying. Let's
give us a spark. I just want to try to win the game.
I'm not a Shedeur here. I want Shedeur to do well too, but I just think that everybody who's saying just throw him in the fire right now, I think it might be a mistake. I don't think
it wasn't a mistake with Dylan Gabriel though. We threw him in the fire. That wasn't a mistake, but it's a mistake if we throw Shedeur in. Like what are we talking about?
And look at how Dylan gets trash.
All right, so what is it? Shit, move on to the next guy. We're not putting no pampers on these boys, bro. We grown. Once you enter the National Football League, bro, you amongst them 2,000 guys. Ain't no fucking pampers and no. Just treat him this nigga. Fuck that.
Quarterback's different, man.
Fuck that, bro.
If you throw him in and he ain't successful, then what?
Quarterback is different than playing corner.
Well, we all.
Y'all hear it. Talib ain't going for it. He ain't trying to hear it. That losing mentality they have, the way they're talking. Success requires overcoming failure and learning from that and getting better. That is a fact. I started this off with Nick Saban. We got to go back to Nick Saban after hearing that loser talk. We got to go back to Nick Saban.
1986 called The Road Less Traveled. You ought to read it sometime. It's a spiritual development book, but it's about positive attitude. The first line in the book says, life is difficult. I'm saying this priest is crazy. Give me a positive attitude book, and the first line in the book says life is difficult. But really what the book was about, when your expectation is that things will be difficult and you're going to have to do certain things to succeed, that when things don't go that way, you're not as upset, you're not as frustrated about it, and you're able to persevere, which is always important to being successful. You know, Michael Jordan's commercial that was on about 10 years ago, Nike commercial, says, you know, he's riding in a limo all dressed up and all that, and he says, I've taken 26 game-winning shots and missed. I've played in 384 NBA games and lost. And I've taken 2,692 shots and missed. And then he opens the locker room door and says, but because I fail is why I succeed. And I think those kind of lessons are important to us. Just like our lesson that we learned in the Sugar Bowl is important.
Because I fail is why I succeed. Because I fail is why I succeed. That's why we watched this early on. Because we was going to hear all the loser thoughts. We should tank. We should blow this thing up. We should start over from scratch. We had to hear all those things. And we had to go back to someone who is widely viewed as the greatest college coach of all time and see how he views it. So Gerald McCoy, that was a loser take. Jay Gruden, that was a loser take. Cleveland Radio, Jason Lloyd, loser takes. Changing play caller doesn't matter. Losing takes. All of it was losing takes. And we had to go back to hear how winners speak. Failure doesn't break you. Failure builds you up so you eventually get to the success. That's what it does. And we can't keep listening to these losers and change our mind to view things the way they do, because they don't know no better. We can't follow behind them. That's our videos, but we got more. Now, Monday's show, we talked about looking more at defenses. And this is a chart by Fantasy Points Data. It is the defenses that teams primarily run. So we're only focusing on the Jets. I don't know how good I'm going to be able to show this to y'all because the Jets are at the bottom, but I'll read it off to you. I'll repost this if you follow me on X where you can see it. Let's hit the repost now. So it'll be on my X. But we're looking at the Jets. The Jets run cover one man 25% of the time. They run cover two, this is zone, 23% of the time. And they run cover three 23% of the time. So if you're looking at that, let me get my good maths right. I think that's about 71% of the time they're running these three coverages. Cover one man, cover two zone, cover three. 70, I want to say about 71% of the time if my math is right. So that's what we're going to look at. You don't learn the speed of the game without playing in the game. There you go. Talk to him, Maurice. You have to give your guys a chance to win, to be a winner and fail and not be broken. There you go. That's a fact. So those are the coverages that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to show y'all cover one man, cover two zone, cover three. And there are answers to each one of them. So I got some clips from Dylan Gabriel seeing this, and then I got some clips where I used the Jets last game where they were in these coverages that we're going to get to. It's not over. We got more. Let's go here. All right, so I'm off the screen, but that's okay. Let's get this drawn tool up. I'm going to be going back and forth between being on the screen and being off the screen just to let y'all know. But we're going to have this film session. We're going to get to it. Okay. Looking at the screen. To determine, an easy tool to determine what defensive coverage the team is in, you look at how many safeties are playing deep. That is going to help you determine what the defense is doing. So we look here. We got one safety playing deep. He's here. One safety deep. So they can change this post snap, but if they don't change this post snap, this is going to be cover one. One safety deep, cover one. Cover one is man. That's what this will be. Now let me get this play on video for y'all. Let's hide this for a second. Let me get to it on video. We're going to run this first play because I don't think I have it set up as the first play. I think I have it set up as the second play, but we're going to get to it. Let me see. Yeah, that's not the play. I think it's the second play. I think we should be right after this. All right, this is it. Let's double check. Let me make sure this is the same play. There you go. Same play. Okay, so cover one, when you're cover one man, you can attack this by having guys run away from guys because they're going to be giving you, they're going to be maintaining, the cornerbacks are going to be maintaining outside leverage because they want you to run inside and funnel everything inside because you're taking away the middle of the field most likely. Let's see what Dylan Gabriel and the Browns do on this play. Let's run the play. One safety drops back. They had two guys to block on this screenplay. They had no success. That's an offensive line failure there. That play should have did so much more. It didn't do much at all. Let's go back to the first play. I think that's my second play. Another cover one look to start. Let's go here. Let's go to the next play. Okay. Let's clear that. Initially, this is also looking like cover one. You got that one deep safety here. Now we're going to watch what this guy does, and this will really determine what they are running for this play. But initial read is cover one. When you see cover one, you're thinking man coverage. So let's get the video up. Let's take this down. We got the video. Let's play it. Okay. I'm pausing it here. We see one safety go deep. We see everybody else locking up man to man. So that's our confirmation is cover one. So you see man to man here. He has him. All these guys locked up. One safety deep. Let's roll it. It was a natural pick play, and they got Harold Fannin coming across the field. I think Toolman was talking about this earlier. They got Harold Fannin coming across the field, running away from the defender because he had inside leverage, and that's why they had success here. So Harold Fannin is here. This is Harold Fannin. His defender had to navigate all this going on in the middle. That's why he was able to get open, catch the ball, and go up the sideline. That's why they were able to have success there. Let's play it again. Success. Because the defender is chasing, he had to navigate across the field. This is the screenplay that we already saw, but we're going to let it go for the next play. And then we're going to pause it, and we're going to break it down pre-snap. Okay. We are moving to the Jets. And this is the Jets versus Cincinnati Bengals. This is the last Jets game, so that's why I use this. Let's get the full screen up, and let's get to it. Okay. So initial key is very similar. We are seeing one safety high, one safety here. So we are guessing everybody else is man across the board. You're looking at man here. You're looking at man up here, man here, man here. And you're looking at him having this running back as his responsibility. Looking like cover one again. Let's see what they do to beat it. Okay. It is man. It is cover one. The key to this play is right here. Jamar Chase initially going outside, cutting back across the field here. The Browns were running this play with Jerry Jeudy. I haven't seen his route in a very long time. We'll see if they get back to it, but let's watch the result of the play. Cross his face, wide open. Pitch and catch. Did that look like he just lined up and just threw the ball straight to Jamar Chase, or was that schemed open? That was schemed open. They won that rep. That's the difference. So if you want to know if the scheme is working, are guys running wide open and the quarterback has an easy throw to get them the ball? That's the difference. Let's get the next one up. Let's go to the next one. Okay. We got 5 wide. We're starting off. You got 2 safeties deep. You got a safety here. You got a safety here. We are thinking, okay, this could be cover 2. This could be cover 4. This could be zone. This could be man. We're going to watch with everybody over a man. Nobody is over this guy right here. Everybody else is over a guy. Everybody is over somebody. Now let's look at the play. Let's get the play going. I'm going to pause it post-snap to see if it is what we thought. Okay, so they look like everybody has a man they're responsible for. 2 safeties are still deep. It's another guy coming wide open. Wide open, pitch and catch. That's scheming a guy open. He schemed him open right there. Cover 2 man. There you go. Cross his face. Once you cross his face, he can't catch up. Easy pitch and catch. All right, let's get to Dillon Gabriel. Let's see what coverage he's facing here. Okay, Dillon Gabriel. We got 2 safeties. 2 safeties deep. This could be cover 2, cover 4. This could be man. This could be zone. We're going to watch the play. We're going to see how it plays out. But so far, you're looking at everybody has a responsibility. Let's see if it plays out. Now, as soon as he snaps it, actually, let me go back just a little bit. Once they snap the ball, that's when you can determine if it's man or if it's zone. So I'm just going to play the end of this first. Okay. Snapped it. It looks like it is man on the outside. Actually, it looks man all the way across. They made it look like it was zone, but this looks like man a little bit, but their eyes are back. I don't know. This is funky. It looks like cover 2 on the outside. It looks like cover 2 in the middle. The receiver has to be smart enough to recognize the defense too. That is a fact to a man. Okay, it ended up being cover 2 man. He made the play, got it to Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond dropped it. So these are the defenses that they're going to see in this next upcoming game. Let's clear this for the next play. We're going to look at the Jets again. All right. Some initial things here. So he's playing far off. They're playing far off. So just off the rip of this play, I would be guessing this is probably cover 3. Cover 3 is 3 guys at the top being a shell. Cover 3. Now we're going to clear this. We're going to go to the play and see if we are correct, if it's cover 3. It doesn't matter if we see that much of like the O-line and all that stuff. This is more about what the defenders are doing. That's why we're showing more back here. Let's play it. Okay, they switched it up. We saw him come down. We saw a guy that's down here, hard to see. We saw him drop back. Let me move it so y'all can see it. We saw some guys switch places. Let's see what happens. All right. Indicators. We thought it was cover 3, and now the play started. It's cover 3, and we'll show you everybody's responsibility. We got he's deep. He's deep. He's deep. His responsibility is here. Hook. He has a flat responsibility. It's nobody in the flat, so he is staying here. Cover 3. Let's pause it. Let's get to the next one. All right, we're back to the Browns. Now, initially, this looks like it could be cover 1. Looks like 1 deep. Let's see if they keep 1 deep or if they switch. This also could be cover 3. Cover 1 and cover 3 it's the easiest way to disguise them because you're going to have that one guy deep. So even showing him deep, you're thinking it's one of those 2 coverages when you see one guy deep right here. So these guys could bail out. That would make it cover 3. If these guys play man, then that would make it cover 1. Let's get to the video of it. And let's see what we got. See him bailing out? Dylan Gabriel threw this ball so fast, he didn't let the play set up at all. Man, oh man. Let's go back. Let's pause it here. So let's look at it. He already threw the ball. He threw that so fast. So as the play is still setting up, we're going to have our 3 deep, and he's going to end up being deep here. Dylan Gabriel just lost it right away. He didn't even wait for an opportunity to get the ball downfield. He just said, I'm going to throw it. So, but this is also cover 3. He potentially could have had some deeper opportunities, but he got the ball out quick. It was a success. You got to take it when it's there. All right, that was our last play in our film breakdown. We saw cover 1, we saw cover 2, and we saw cover 3. We got to see how Dylan Gabriel responds to it, how he reacts to it. He's been the same. Not really good versus man or zone. So we're going to see overall how he does this week. But those are the 3 defensive coverages he's going to see. 2 of them look very similar. With cover 1 man and cover 3, they look similar. They can be disguised very well, and you can throw them off that way. But also what I want y'all to notice is when I'm showing y'all these plays, let me get this back up for a second. they are not disguising these plays versus Dylan Gabriel that much. Let me get to the beginning. You look at this play, it just looks like cover one. They're not disguising this. They're not hiding what this is. Safety deep, cover one. Not disguising it. Let's go to the next play. This one is a little bit better disguised, but you still can assume this could be cover one with the deep safety because everybody is capped. Everybody is over somebody. Everybody is over somebody. So we'll know. What time will we know if he's? I don't think we get press conferences today. We'll probably get word from the beat reporters around like 2:30 on if Shedeur is practicing today. So they're gonna tell us late. Again, they're not cover two. They're not disguising this. You got your deep safeties. Now, if this is cover six, one guy will be close, one guy will be off. Cover two, both guys are close, and they're not really lined up. They shifted when they shifted him over here, but they're not disguising that this much with Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel is, no problem, Marie. Dylan Gabriel is getting to see what is happening pre-snap and post-snap. They're giving him the same look. So when people were saying, "Oh, Dylan Gabriel's he looks his best against Minnesota," it's because they didn't disguise anything. You look here. This again, they're playing off. They're playing off. Everybody playing off. So this is either cover one or cover three. But with this guy bailing out so early, you're assuming he's getting here, so it'll be cover three. That's your tell. So they're not disguising with Dylan Gabriel. They're showing it what it's going to be, and they're putting it out there. Again, another one, not disguising it. Not disguising it. So this is more of a reason why Dylan Gabriel should be having more success, because they're not disguising it. They're just lining up. They're running it, and he is not able to take advantage of it. So y'all see it. Dylan Gabriel has every opportunity to be good and show that he's good if he was good. Every opportunity is there. When defenses are not disguising it, that's half of it right there. That's half of it right there. Knowing what's coming. So then you know the play. You know, okay, cover one, we can beat it this way. Can you explain the difference between cover two and quarters? Yes. Let's do this. I got cover two on there. So let me pull up a cover two situation. Okay. This is a good place to draw it. Where my drawing tool at? Okay. Cover two. Two guys deep. They're going to split. He's going out. He's going out. If this wasn't cover two man, this guy will have flat responsibility here. And then everybody else will have a zone that they're responsible for. Flat responsibility here. That's cover two. Stefanski said he's limited today. Okay, shout out to you, Zedric, for that. Shedeur is limited today. So that is your cover two. And the only difference in the two is the responsibility that they have on the play. Let me see if it's a good way I could draw this up on here. So, yeah, I can use this to draw it up. Okay. Now, if this was cover four, it would look like this. His responsibility would be back. 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 Those are your four. So you're going to have four guys. So you got one, you got two, you got three, And you got 4 here, 4 guys dropping back. And then these 2 guys would be dropping in the flat. He would stay here, your linebacker. And his responsibility will be under here. And his responsibility would be under here. So that is cover 4. That is the difference. So 2 guys dropping back in cover 2, 4 guys dropping back deep in cover 4. And then cover 4, you could take it into a zone match where as soon as a guy gets in, you wouldn't just leave him. You would just pick him up and play man coverage with him. That's why last week when they were talking about ways how to beat cover 4, it was a big thing. I don't know why it was a big deal. Well, let me show you here real quick. I got it. They were talking about how to beat cover 4 and basically just the responsibilities once you get this middle safety moved. Let's get my drawing thing up. Once you get this middle safety move right here, you could beat them over top in cover 4. So they were talking about that last week. Cover 4 and cover 2. When you hear a coverage, cover 1, 1 man deep. Cover 2, 2 man deep. Cover 3, 3 man deep. Cover 4, 4 man deep. So it's how many guys have deep responsibility for that play. That is what determines which coverage it is. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Next week's film breakdown will actually have new up-to-date film. Some of this film is what I've already broken down before. Potentially what I'll have to do is I might have to break it down like I did today on the YouTube format, where I'm moving the NFL Pro off of there because I'm having to edit those videos when it's showing the NFL Pro. So I'm going to see, this is like the test study. If that's the case, then the plays we look at, I'll just make a private YouTube video so we can look at them and then we can see them and then I won't have to edit it. Then if you watch the replay, you'll be able to get the full chat replay. You'll get to see everything because as soon as I have to edit it, chat replay is not going to be the same. So you lose the chat replay once you edit the video. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that. We looked at cover 1, cover 2, and cover 3. That's what Dylan Gabriel most likely will see. More than 70% of the time this weekend, we'll see if he has the answers to beat those coverages. And we'll break it down all live. Sunday will be live about 12:50. And what day of the week is it? My week is all messed up for not working on Sunday, not streaming with y'all. So we'll be back at this thing live on Friday because it's only Wednesday. Man, oh man. Still middle of the week grind. Happy hump day to everybody. We'll be back at this on Friday, 10:30. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully y'all like this little change up here where we're making sure we get a better understanding of what's happening. I don't want us to be out here talking crazy saying the play caller doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. There's no way to beat this defense because all of those things are factually incorrect. All of those things are incorrect. So we're going to keep learning. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep getting better and we'll keep giving everybody what they want. So I appreciate all of y'all being here. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch y'all on Friday, 10:30. It's been real. Peace, everybody. Zedric said ain't so. I didn't fully. I took my headphones out. Let me stop. I didn't fully run this time because Kevin Stefanski always want to play games when the show's about to be over. So, Zedric, were you watching? Did he already speak? Let's see. Kevin Stefanski don't want the stream to end, y'all. Let's see if we can find what he's talking about before we go. Let's see what you got going on, Coach. One hour ago. All right. What you got to say, Coach? What you got to say?
Okay, back to work week.
All right. So on Monday, as soon as I click end stream, we saw as soon as I click in stream, we saw Kevin Stefanski say he wasn't going to have play calling duties. He was giving it to Tommy Rees. Today, I saw Zedric's message. We're going to break this thing down live. We're going to get some overtime in here. So let's get back to it before we ride up out of here. So shout out to you if you're still here. We're going to get a live reaction to what Kevin Stefanski talking about. Let me get this up on the screen. Shout out to you, Zedric. Shout out to you, man. What you talking about, Kevin?
Wednesday, great opportunity in front of us. Road game, AFC opponent. Looking forward to the challenge. Obviously, they're coming off a bye just like us. They're coming off a big win a couple weeks ago. So our focus is to play our best on the road and find a way to get a victory. That's our challenge. We're trying to learn from some of the things we spent time with over the bye on offense, defense, and special teams and apply some of those learnings starting this week. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Marie, we had the audible on the play. Audible on the play. The show's not done. It's not over. We here. We got to see what Kevin Kev talking about.
With the big trades that the Jets made yesterday, losing some big pieces on defense, how much does that change the offensive game plan for you guys?
Yeah, it doesn't change. I mean, they got good players. I have a ton of respect for Steve Wilkes, for Aaron Glenn. They do a very good job of trying to keep you off balance in the things they do from a front and coverage standpoint. So they have a bunch of good players. We have to play our best.
Shedeur is going to be practicing today. Will he be back as your QB2 this week?
Yeah, he'll be limited today, Mary Kay, so need to see how he responds. Obviously, he's pushing very hard in rehab, but need to see how he does over the next couple of days.
All right. So he's limited. We'll see how he responds. Okay. All right. Let's see if we get anything else good from this. What else you got to say, Kev?
Aaron Glenn didn't announce the other day who's going to play quarterback for him. What does that do to you guys if you have to prepare for two different guys?
Yeah, obviously two different players, but they're both good in their own right. I mean, Justin Fields is extremely dangerous, very, very, very fast. They do a great job in the run game. He's a threat to make all the throws with his arm strength in the pass game, and then he can tuck it and run, as you've seen throughout this season. He's made some huge plays with his legs. Obviously, Terod's a veteran that knows what to do with the football, very accurate, good athlete, can make you miss, obviously, as he moves outside the pocket, but a veteran that really operates well. So, I have to be prepared for both guys.
How do you think the bye regenerated your guys for this last half of the season?
Yeah, I think the bye week, regardless of where it comes, Jeff, you have to recharge, and I think our guys did that. Obviously, have a 9-game season coming up here after 8 in the book, so have to make sure that they're ready in mind, body, and spirit for the run.
Have a charge going forward for these last 9 games for Dylan? I mean, have you given him sort of some mandates or instructions on what you need to see from him to elevate his game?
I wouldn't put it that way, Mary Kay, other than to say we have a lot of things that we need to do better offensively in total, quarterback position, every position, coaching, you name it. So those are, going back to the bye week, you try to study and learn some things and try to make sure that we as coaches are putting our guys in the best position to succeed.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job.
He just won't say it. What's going on, Shanithia? All good, all good. What's going on? Funny story, Shanithia. I was wrapping this thing up. I was about to end it. At the last minute, I saw Zedric say he's riding the fence about Shedeur. So I said, we got to get some overtime in. And the stream was about to be a wrap. And I saw that. So this is a little extended portion of the stream. We're listening to Kevin Stefanski, seeing what he's talking about. He's saying a bunch of nothing. He could easily say, I want to see Dillon Gabriel get better. That's not throwing him under the bus. That's not setting the bar too high. That is just saying you want to see him get better. He could have gave y'all coach speak. Everybody would have accepted this if he said this. Dillon's been doing everything he can to continually grow and get better with this being his rookie season. We want to see him keep developing, keep getting better every day. We also want to see him limit the turnovers. That's simple. A lot of times, Kevin Stefanski is making things way harder than they have to be just because he somehow thinks he is doing what's best for Dillon Gabriel. When any other great coach you see would have said, hey, we can't have the turnovers. This stuff is, come on, man. Just say he has to get better. We got to get better. It's right in line with what Kevin Stefanski already say. We got to get better. Every day you say we got to get better. So what's the difference between saying we got to get better and he got to get better? It's no difference. So him in these word salads, he get up there, they ask him a very direct question and he hits you with
Have
this.
you ever had a dreams that you want to.
It's like, bro, what you saying? What are you talking about?
Succeed, and certainly that would count the quarterback as well.
A lot about self-evaluation. Coming out of the bye, what do you think after evaluating your team? Where do you think you guys stand? What did you get out of that?
Well, I think you don't wait till the bye to look at yourself from a scout standpoint. You're constantly doing a self-scout. It does give you an opportunity, though, after 8 games to really look at it from a bunch of different angles, whether it's the personnels you're using, the schemes you're using, more. You can go on a deeper dive, if you will. You can go on a deeper dive on what other teams are doing, what teams are doing to you, those type of things. So you learn a lot. I think it's really important, and what the coaches did a nice job with. I think it's important to take all those learnings and then condense them down into some action items, into the big bullet points, if you will, as opposed to trying to account for every single thing you've learned.
You really like the team going into the trade deadline. Outside of the one move yesterday, a lot of guys have speculated and could potentially be moved are still here. Do you think that can help inject some life into the team as well now that has passed and this is the team going forward and they can all focus?
Yeah, I understand the question, Daryl. I don't know how much guys spend time thinking about those type of things. I know it's speculative, and I know there's plenty of news outlets that cover those type of things, and that's what you have to do. But our guys don't spend much time on that. We kind of keep our focus.
Man, he is so used to just saying the same things over and over again that. How many stories have we heard about players across all leagues saying that when they hear their name in trade rumors, it had an impact or effect on them? Like, the things he dismisses are the human things. The human element is what he always dismisses. It makes no sense. It's crazy. Players are impacted when for 3 weeks David Njoku was here and he might be traded. Wyatt Teller, 3 weeks. You don't think Wyatt Teller was impacted? He had to come out and say he wanted to retire as a Cleveland Brown. Why do you think he's saying that when his name has been in trade rumors for 2 months? This is the human element is the part where he misses the most. This is so frustrating. Shedeur is doing everything required. We are doing our part. Then this coach actually doing a disservice to Dylan and Shedeur. He is breaking Dylan Gabriel. He's lowering the bar for Shedeur, and he is getting himself fired. If you said, what's the 3 things you don't want to happen? You don't want to break the confidence of the guy that you believed in, you stood on the table for, that's going to happen. The guy who you didn't believe was going to be good and you don't want to see him play, he's going to end up playing when you thought you was going to hide him all year. That's not good. You thought you was going to keep your job, but instead, you're going to do this.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job.
Everything that he thought he was going to be able to do this year is all up in flames. It's crashing and burning around him. Crashing and burning. What else you got to say, Kev?
Just where it is, and so that's the sense I've gotten from you guys.
At the time of the draft, both you and Andrew said that Dylan Gabriel had his height that didn't show up on college game film. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's showing up now? I mean, his inability to get the ball to the receivers.
Yeah, I understand the question, Tony, but I would not characterize it that way. We need to play better as an offense. Certainly, there's areas to improve for a young quarterback, but it's really on all of us to improve.
Y'all know I always kept bringing up when they said his height didn't matter. They didn't see it on tape. We watched the film. We see multiple occasions Dylan Gabriel cannot see the whole field. We heard Tua, who's taller than Dylan Gabriel, say sometimes he can't see the field. We heard Drew Brees say a lot of times he would have to anticipate the throw and throw the ball. He wouldn't be able to see it. We just watched the Colorado Buffaloes play against, who they play? They just smacked them. Arizona. We saw their 5'10" quarterback throwing the ball and then looking around the lineman to see if his guy caught the ball. But Dylan Gabriel is the only shorter quarterback who he can see the whole field and it's not impacting him. Come on, man.
Stop it. Get some help.
He got to do better, man. The same way Kevin Stefanski told us, Dylan Gabriel rolling out to his right and his left was the same. Until we see he can't complete a pass rolling out to his right. You got to do better, man. You got to do better. And these word salad answers, and if y'all notice, the media, they don't have faith in Kevin no more. They turning up the heat on him with the type of questions they're asking and them being relentless to get him to say something. They turning up the heat. Kevin Stefanski started this year. He was a big old pot of water sitting on the stove. It was not boiling. The pot is boiling and everybody is turning the heat up. The national media turning the heat up. Fans turning the heat up. Everybody is turning the heat up. And he just in the boiling pot. Listening to him is like listening to the squeaky chalk sound on the chalkboard. I can't. It's a fact. It's a fact. Even Tony Grossi has had enough, and Dylan was his guy all training camp. That's a fact. Because eventually, what happens on the field is the most important thing. I always tell y'all, I'm a spectator. I can say I see this happening, and I can give you my reasons why I see it happen. But once it gets on the field is the field. It's up to the player. So if you bet on a player who couldn't see the whole field, if you bet on a player who is not comfortable throwing the ball when rolling out, that's on you for betting on that player. Because now when that player got to do it and he can't do it, it's on the person who said it. Reporters and media are only going to look crazy for so long before they're back into a corner and they're going to turn you into a fool before they turn themselves into a fool time after time. If we looked at if we looked at Tony Grossi before the year and in the summer and how he was talking and how he talking now, you would think it was two totally different people. Master of minimalism. I would say he's the master of the word salad because he just say a lot of nothing to me. But that's what it is. Eventually, to save your own reputation, you got to abandon ship. You got to jump off. I got to save myself. So that's what people are doing, and they're turning up the heat on him. What's happening? And he could light a fire up under people, or he could keep doing things the way he's been doing and being a losing coach. Coach with a losing record. Coach who was very close to losing the locker room. We saw what happened in Cincinnati. We saw offensive players getting mad, saying the defense is letting us down. They had to get one stop. The Browns are one loss away from that. One loss away from it. So they're not gonna get a pass. Nobody's giving Kevin Stefanski a pass. Kevin Stefanski's most loyal supporters want him fired now. Y'all don't think the owner is paying attention to this? Y'all don't think the owner is trying his best? Oh, Brent, what's going on? Yeah, I played it. Did you get the chance to watch the Khabib Discipline video? Yes, I played it on the next I played it on the next stream. I played it as the motivation on the next stream after you told me about it. I like Khabib's thoughts process, and I like the way he's about focus, and I like the way he locks in. So yeah, I definitely did see that. I definitely did see that. The owner is trying to give Kevin Stefanski all the confidence he can. What the owner cannot do is, the owner cannot defend Kevin Stefanski if nobody shows up to the games. If the other fans show up to the games more than Browns fans. The national media is already reckless with how they talk about Kevin Stefanski. I don't know if y'all noticed this. I've been saying I wanted Kevin Stefanski, but I'm just a little old podcaster. But every week I'm showing y'all somebody else in the national media is talking reckless about him. That is a big problem if you're a head coach who is on the hot seat coming off of a 3-14 year. You're currently 2-6. You're supposed to be an offensive mind. You got to give up play calls for the second time in back-to-back years. You're losing your protection. His protection is going away. That's what happened. Nobody's sticking their neck out for him no more. So, do y'all remember a couple of weeks ago I said this is not barbecue. This is not a steak going on the grill. This is some meat going in the smoker with some nice wood, and you letting that thing smoke. That is what's happening to the Browns. The Browns are slow cooking until this thing is over with, and they wipe it clean and start over. That's what's happening. Slow cooking right before our eyes. If anybody is a boxing fan, one of the things that they don't want boxers to do is sign the next contract before they finish a fight. And the reason why they say that is because they don't want you to be complacent knowing you got another payday coming. They want you to finish the fight and then sign the next one. We saw that with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney Jr. They had the agreement. They had the details locked in. Both of them underperformed in their fights. Ryan Garcia ended up losing. Devin Haney ended up not taking any risks. He won, but he didn't take any risks. Whatever assurances that the Browns ownership gave to Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski was the nail in the coffin for them. You cannot give people assurances coming off of bad seasons. You have to let them fight their way out of it to turn things around. These assurances have made them complacent, and we're having an equally as bad season. Actually, not equally as bad. This is worse than last year. This is worse than last year because you have more things in place. You got a different quarterback you can go to. You have a better defense than last year. You got Myles Garrett on his way for another Defensive Player of the Year. You have added our defensive tackle room is better. Our overall defensive line room is better. So this is worse than last year. What's going on, Ms. Brown? So that was a mistake by giving those assurances, and they are running and operating like they have those assurances in place, and that is a terrible thing for them. Some of the Shedeur haters see Colorado without Shedeur and Browns with Dillon, throwing Flacco and Jacoby Spice, slow cooking to see Shedeur play. That is a fact. Also, another short quarterback in Kyler Murray, where the coach said even if he was healthy, they would be playing Jacoby Brissett. It's not looking good for short quarterbacks. Bryce Young is holding on barely. But short quarterbacks, it's not looking good. All the quarterbacks that they wanted to highlight when they tried to big up Dillon is looking shaky. Look at Tua. Bryce up and down. Kyler Murray will be losing his starting job. It ain't looking good. Russell Wilson benched. It's not looking good for the short kings. Not in the NFL. The diehard Browns fans should be glad the light is on the organization because of Shedeur. Change for the best is coming. First step, play Shedeur. Second step, fire Stefanski. That is a fact. I think sometimes I said this before, and sometimes I try to go a whole show without saying I said this. But when I saw the Browns media in the summer, I said, Shedeur is like a lightning rod. When lightning strikes, that you see the infrastructure is bad. You see you couldn't handle the rain. You see the buildings weren't built properly. You see everything that needs to be fixed. Shedeur coming to the Browns has shined a light on the Browns as an organization, the Browns media sphere, and everything going on. And people who don't have ties to the Cleveland Browns have demanded all of it is better. They want everything better. They want coaches gone. They want AB gone. They want better players on the team. They don't even want to listen to majority of the regular media that's Cleveland based. So you are more than right, Marie. I've been trying to hold off from keep saying that as much, but sometimes it just comes out. You got to say it. This is worse because you have a path to victory that they ignore and blew off. I agree with that. Tua, man, that's why at first I said it's just as bad. Then I said it's worse because they have ways that they could be winning. They have ways they could be winning. They are refusing to take advantage of those. And that's why I said, if Tommy Rees looks good, this is an indictment against Kevin Stefanski. This is not a plus, because it took his back against the wall, the season to be out of hand, for him to realize he wasn't the best person for that particular job. You don't get a win for that. That's an L. When we get to Shedeur steps over the curb and goes past the level that Dillon Gabriel has set. You don't get a win for Shedeur, even if you come in and win the last 5 games. You get an L for that, because y'all continuously said he wasn't ready. Y'all didn't pour into him. Y'all are not giving him reps. So you don't get to ride the coattail when he has success. Yeah, the boogeyman got to go. We don't know what he do. We don't know if he pulling the strings or how he pulling the strings. Any person that has a contract and is not an owner, they can go. If you ask me who I want gone, if you are, I'm talking about front office, coaching, not Jim Swartz, but everybody else, they can go. They can go. Short QBs have to be so much better than their peers to compete. Can't believe a mid, because you have to overcome the 6'6", 300-pound monster that runs at 4.4. That's a fact. You have to be, if you normally get 3 seconds on the play to make your determination and throw, you have to get it off in closer to 2 seconds. That's how fast you got to be. You got to be 33% faster to get the play off and identify where you're going. And a lot of times you're going to throw blind. Drew Brees actually said that. Drew Brees said, majority of the time, I'm throwing the ball blindly because he can't wait to see it. Dillon Gabriel is waiting to see it, and you can't do that. Facts, they get no credit for Shedeur development. Facts. They don't get nothing for that. I remember people saying they were going to get credit for it. As soon as people started to say they was going to get credit for it, what did the Browns do? Shedeur not getting number 1 reps. We got to give all these reps to Dillon. Okay. Remember that development buzzword that we kept hearing? Where did that word go? Why is nobody speaking on development? You don't get credit. You don't get credit for getting every answer wrong, and in the last one, you just randomly pick something. You don't get a passing grade. You get a failing grade, but you get that one question right. That's the Browns. Shedeur comes in, balls out. They still get their F. Still take your F. You got one question right when Shedeur goes out there and plays. That's it. But nope, no credit. No credit for you, my friend. None. None at all. This has been a great overtime, little impromptu overtime session. So shout out to y'all for staying. Shout out to y'all for being here. We heard Kevin Stefanski. We heard that chalk scratching on the wall. Nothing new from him. Just more reason why we got to get rid of him. I had a clip I was gonna play for y'all. It was some Browns guys saying if Tommy Rees has success, that means you got to bring Kevin Stefanski back next year. And I was like, man, y'all crazy. You see it, you're too late already. Missed the play. That's a fact. That's a fact. Maurice, hey, Shanithia and Marie, they know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. You don't get credit for being late. You get credit for being a visionary. That's what I want people to see. You got to be a visionary to be a head coach. You can't have tunnel vision. Kevin Stefanski put on blinders ever since the draft and didn't see anybody but Dillon Gabriel. He never saw Shedeur. He put them blinders on. Now he got to live with his poor decisions. You don't get credit for it. None. If he wanted to get credit for it, he would have gave Tommy Rees play calling. To a man, thanks for the film. It was good. Hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It was a compliment when a person said it to me, but I remember my good friend, his wife, she always called me research and development. And she was like, because I can research things that other people will look at as dry. And that's how I get better. That's one of the things that I think makes me different. People usually need entertainment. They need laughing. They need all these things to learn. Me, I just need a desire to learn about it. So I thought that if I did too much in the film stuff, people wouldn't enjoy it. But I'm really glad that y'all enjoy it because it helps you understand the game better. It helps you see it better. So I definitely appreciate that too, man. Definitely appreciate it. This has been another great one. Shout out to y'all for being here to overtime. We're going to be back 10:30 Friday, unless right before I'm about to leave, some more news break. But besides that, we're going to be back on Friday. They gaslighting us. If Tommy is successful, I'm guessing you're saying you can fire Stefanski and bring in another OC. Yeah. That's why I tell people nothing changes for me. I've already made a decision. These guys got to go. I don't really care what they do the rest of the year. It's been too bad for too long. So to me, they done. They're done. Shout out to you for being here, Maurice. Shout out to everybody for being here. This has been another great episode. We will be back on Friday, 10:30 a.m. Like, comment, subscribe. It's been real. I'll see y'all later. Enjoy your hump day. Peace.
Untitled